right, class. Sit down. Settle down. Had enough of the shenanigans.
I'm already sitting down.
Just sit down. I got a call roll. Your normal teacher isn't here.
It's just me.
She's out with syphilis today. I got huge. Okay, this one's going nowhere. No. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Rage Select Podcast. Time for another podcast. You're Rage Select, and I am a Jeff.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and who are you?
Yeah.
Identify yourself.
I'm just around.
I'm a cop. You have to tell me.
Well, no, I want my lawyer.
Oh, you don't? No, there's no lawyers here.
Yeah, no. Actually, your dog is my lawyer.
I'll give you Grant's phone number. He can represent you in a court. It's between him and Jason Murphy. Together, they are the HR department / mediation team for Rage Select. So, you could take your chances with them.
I think I want an outside arbiter.
No, that's
one
not,
that doesn't touch me so much.
You didn't read the contract.
That's mostly Murphy.
All the way through. Oh, man. Hey, Joe, what's going on?
Oh, just drinking my Rob Gronkowski Monster Energy drink.
Wait, what is that? Is this a branded?
It's got Rob Gronkowski, the Gronk on it.
It's Energy Gronk.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck is Rob Gronkowski?
The sporting fans know him as some footballer for the Patriots.
He's a feats man. He's okay.
Yeah.
He plays the feats ball. Okay, fair enough. Well, how have you been, sir? I haven't talked to you in a little while.
Busy.
Yeah?
Yeah, doing Cody things or like not so Cody things or trying to sleep and then not having time for that.
Right.
Just the usual.
As a person who is thoroughly sleep deprived, when you were telling me that story, I was trying to figure out who Cody was for like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this Cody and when can you bring him in?
And an extra 30 minutes of nap and you would have figured that out.
Yes, probably so. Well, let's see. We have a pretty big shitload of news. But before we get there, I got a couple things that I want to talk to somebody about.
Yeah.
Well, first off, you don't get a chance to play any video games in your spare time, do you? Have you been playing anything recently?
No. If I have spare time, it's either going over the old Borderlands pre-sequel. Just
Jesus Lord, this is bad.
Yeah.
What console do you have? PlayStation 3? None?
Well, the PlayStation 3 is pretty much just a Blu-ray player at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got like 200 PlayStation 3 games. You could take some of them that are not Borderlands the pre-sequel.
Yeah.
In fact, I was looking for something to play last week that was kind of like Overwatch because after the Overwatch...
You can't play that no more?
Yeah, after the Overwatch beta ended, I was like, but I want to still play it.
And you need your buns.
Yeah. And so I started looking through my Steam library, and the only thing that kind of came close was Borderlands, and I like brought it up and I was ready to install it, and I was like, I don't want to fucking play Borderlands again. I had enough of Borderlands is one of those things where it's like when the first Borderlands came out, I was like, hey, this is a really interesting idea. And then between Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel and like the 6 million DLCs for both of those games, it was just kind of like, yeah, you fuck yourself, Gearbox. I don't fucking care. Also, Battleborn comes out next week, so I could just wait and play that even though it's not really Borderlands.
No.
Well, no. Okay, so something happened to me last week, Joe.
Okay.
You
decided you hate video games.
Yes, I decided once and for all, fuck video games. I am going to become a welder, and
they make good money no matter what you do.
My goal is to get on that show where they make all the video game weapons because I figure.
That's a show?
Yeah, have you not seen that Man at Arms?
No.
They build. If you've never seen it, you should definitely watch it. It's like. I don't know reality television because I only watch cooking shows and hoarders.
You haven't been on it like some of us.
That's correct. Yes. But isn't there a show that's like all like motorcycle dudes or like car dudes where they're like, today we're gonna fucking build this car, and then it's like this guy's gonna do this part, and then this guy's gonna do this part.
Yeah. Well, that's already lived, died, been reborn, and died again.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's like that except that they make weapons. Okay. Like somebody. Everybody sent me a link when they made. So I don't think you've ever actually been exposed to you've been exposed to my Bloodborne illness, but you've never actually played Bloodborne, right?
No.
There's a weapon in there that's like a big cleaver that is on like a big handle, and it's like sideways, and then you flip it, and it opens up into a big long one. And like they made that. And it took them for goddamn ever. And the funniest part of it was because at the end of all of them, they go out and they set up a bunch of watermelons and shit, and then they hack them up in slow motion. And seeing these guys try to actually use this thing that was just invented by some art director, it's like it was never actually meant for a human being to pick up and do.
No, hideously balanced, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I think the other one that I watched was when they made the the scissor sword from Kill la Kill. And when they were trying to use that one too, it was just like, yeah, they spent all this time making it so that it had the second blade that like comes out of it. And unfortunately, when that was out, it just seemed like the most unwieldy thing. Anybody's
obviously
ever done.
They never actually tried to use real scissors to stab somebody.
Correct. But anyway, to get away from Man at Arms, I was over at a friend's house last week, and we were like looking through. I just got my HBO Go pirated back from my parents. They gave me their password again because fucking Game of Thrones is coming on. And we were looking through the movies on HBO Go, and my friend was like, haha, let's watch 50 Shades of Grey. And I was like, oh, I'll totally watch that movie because I want to have an opinion about that shit, but I'm a big fan of not having an opinion about a thing until you've actually
experienced it,
watched it. Yeah. Even though this entire show is about me talking about my ass, talking out of my ass about video games that aren't even out yet. So anyway, the two of us sat down and watched 50 Shades of Grey. Have you seen this movie?
No. Did you love it?
It was one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen. It was amazing how bad it was. And I actually, like, I know that, 99% of the people that listen to this show have ding-dongs and,
and have already watched and jerked off to 50 Shades of Grey.
See, that's the thing is, I don't even think that you could jerk off to it. Like, it's not really very sexy.
Well,
like,
isn't Christian Grey got the, like, chiseled good looks?
Yeah, but that's not, like, I don't, not to get, too far off topic, but that's, like, when I go to Pornhub, I don't do a search for chiseled abs. Like, that's
well.
Anyway, I don't know. It seemed like, I mean, maybe I read too much on the internet before I watched it, but that dude seems like a fucking sexual predator who needs to go to a lot of therapy. And then the lady character was like, I'm not sure how this is even possible, Joe. Had like less personality than Bella and Twilight. Like,
well, considering it started off as Twilight fanfic.
I know, yep. And it was funny too because I'm watching it and it's like, oh shit, that guy is Jacob. They just gave him a different name, and I'm like, all right. And I was like, there was one point where she's walking out in a parking lot to get into her Volkswagen. And I'm like, this is the scene where the guy in the truck almost hits her, and then dude bro comes in and fucking stops it.
Was she wearing a butt plug while she was walking?
No. Okay, so listen, I'm going to spoil the shit out of this movie, which shouldn't be a problem.
Oh no, sir.
For anybody. One, she's like, I don't know how it is in the books, but in the movies, like, it starts out, they meet, she's into him, he's all fucked up, and he like, then like most of the movie, like for a good like 3/4, there's another thing where I'm just like, isn't this movie supposed to be about fucking all the time? And it's not about these two vapid actors like looking into each other's vapid eyes going like, but most of it was like this extended contract negotiation because he's trying to get her to sign this sexual slavery BDSM contract, and she's obviously just into him as a person and has no interest whatsoever in the other part of this. Like, she's freaked out when he shows her the room, and she's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then like he just keeps showing up and regular fucking her, even though he's like, I don't make love, I fuck. Like, that's actually a line from the movie. He's such a tool. And then every time that like he gets into like, I really want to spank you or I want to tie you up, she's obviously way not into it. Like, she obviously has no interest in it and just wants to date this fucked up weirdo. And so the whole thing culminates in her being like, do what you really want to do to me, like, because he keeps trying to push her into just being his weird BDSM sex slave, and she, like I said, she doesn't have any interest in it, and so the whole movie culminates in this thing where she nakedly bends over this thing, and he like whips her like 20 times or something like that,
and that's it.
And then she's just like, I didn't like that. And so she fucking like gets up and she's pissed off. And I'm sorry, I really want to save people from this because the movie's been going on. It's been like, will they, won't they? Here they're fucking. She's taking her clothes off all the time. There must have been a scene where he rips her underwear off like 5 times in the movie. And yet,
gotta get those tearaways for Christian Grey.
Oh boy. Okay, so at the very end of the movie, he like really lays into her, and she's upset. She's like, this is what you want to do to me? I love you. Like, I don't want you to beat the fuck out of me. I just want to like bone you and have children and whatever. I don't know. And he's like, no, I need to. And so the very last scene of the movie is like, she's put on all her clothes and she's walking away. And he goes up to try to like put his hand on her shoulder or something while she's getting in the elevator. She turns around. She's like, no. And he just like stops like a dog. He's like, "Roo." And then she gets in the elevator, and there's a scene early on that's exactly the same, where after their first meeting, she gets in the elevator, and as the doors are closing, he's like, Anastasia, and she's like, Christian, and then the doors close, and literally they do that again, and then the credits roll. There is no
there was no growth. It was just a giant waste of time.
zero. Yes, she's not into what he's into. He does not grow as a character. You don't really find out why the fuck he's like this. The scenes where she kind of engages in this pretty much just amount to he changed it to this fucking, you know that thing in Fallout where you hang your power armor? It's like that, except she's naked on it.
Yeah.
And he like hits her with a riding crop like 3 times, and then they bone. And I'm like, well, that doesn't seem even remotely like. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that community, but it seems to me like if there's a whole community and all this stuff that's kind of devoted to this, that it's more than just tapping you on the butt a couple times and then you have regular old vanilla bone sex.
Was he giggling while he did it? He was like, tee hee.
No. He honestly, the guy seemed like a psychopath. And then it's much worse. I don't even.
Well, but didn't he have a glider? Like, isn't there a scene where they're in a glider?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that he keeps, like, the thing that's kind of, like, offensive, and I know that I'm way late on this because, you know, whatever, but there's most of the movie involves him doing, like, the things that he thinks that she wants him to do as a boyfriend, and then turning around and being like, now sign the fucking sex contract. I took you on a nice glider ride. Sign the goddamn sex contract. I want to hit you with a riding crop 3 times.
Is the sex contract like you are my slave? Because you can't do that.
No, there's a whole scene where they go to the boardroom at Gray House, which is the name of his company. It's like on the front. Yeah. And it's funny because this entire scene, they're sitting there basically negotiating this sex contract. Like, there's one point where she's like, and if you turn to page 7, Article 62, scratch genital clamps. I'm not going to do that. Also, dildos are okay. And then she, should you not? I don't know. Maybe get drunk and watch this movie. There's a point where she asks him at this sex negotiation, now, what is a butt plug exactly? And me and my friends just throw our hands about, what the fuck do you think? It's a plug. It goes in your butt. And the whole time, I swear to God, I don't know. Like, they shoot this scene where the two of them are at this long table, and it's got like red light. I don't know why, because he has he wants to be the devil in his meetings or something. And so they're at both ends of this long table, and both of them have this like little immaculate plate of sushi to the right of them, and they're having this sex conversation. I'm just like, are there one of you guys that need to?
Yeah,
sushi?
I mean, it's only getting worse.
I mean, you know, you should probably.
It's not stew. It doesn't get better with age.
You want to eat the stew. Anyway, what I'm saying is that, my God, like, it takes forever to get even to what you think this is about, and I don't understand why. Like, okay, I'm sure that there's not that many like middle-aged sex-starved women who listen to Rage Select.
Oh, okay, that listen to Rage Select. Gotcha.
Right. So I know that I'm not talking to the demographic that this was directed towards.
Come on, ladies, get it together.
But I just don't understand how this would be appealing to somebody. I mean, you know,
what I would like is for our ragies or our selecties, whatever, as a young informed male, please explain the appeal to a middle-aged female that 50 Shades has to us.
Yes, please explain to me, a middle-aged male. Okay, 20 by far our demographic. 20-year-old white men who listen to Rage Select. Yeah. Please explain to me, a 38-year-old white man, why 50 Shades of Grey appeals to middle-aged white women. I mean, the friend I was watching it with was like a white woman who's my age, and I'm just like, is this doing anything for you? And she's like, no, these people are assholes. Like,
gives me gas, burp.
Like, she doesn't have any personality, and he's a fucking psychopath.
At first I thought you were talking about your friend. It was like,
no,
sick burn.
No. I mean, there's one point where she like tells him, no, I don't want any part of this. Goodbye forever. Fuck off. And then he just has broken into her apartment, shows up.
God, that's romantic.
Like, ties her to her bed and blindfolds her, and then like fucks her in a way that when I was watching it, I was like, it seems like I'm watching a sex crime here. Like, she could honestly take this guy to court and be like,
I love it.
You broke into my house, you tied me to the bed, and then fucked me. And like, after I told you explicitly, I'm not going to sign your contract, and I don't want to have sex with you anymore because you're all crazy in the brain case. I don't know. It was a very strange experience because it was both boring and kind of offensive. And it was kind of like, it reminded me a little bit of when I watched that movie where Scarlett Johansson takes her clothes off all the time. She drives a van around. She's an alien, and she takes her clothes off all the time. Do you know this movie?
No.
It's called like hold on, I'll look it up. Anyway, the point
Scarlett Johansson's Boob Quest.
Yeah, it's, I watched this movie, and it's this really artsy fartsy, like, it's based on an Irish story about this alien who comes to Earth to basically to harvest humans under the skin.
Okay.
It came out in 2013. It's about this, because I looked it up after I was done with it because it was just fucking. Anyway, she comes to Earth to harvest humans to send away to basically be eaten on another planet. Now, in the movie, they kind of change it where she's driving around in a van. She's looking for drifters to basically take, and then like. She doesn't actually have sex with them. It's like she gets naked, and then they start walking along the floor to like go to her
in the van.
And then and like a house that she has, like a weird alien house, and they all like melt into the floor, and then they're all like suspended in this black goop, and it sucks the life out of them. But then eventually she ends up kind of falling in love with somebody, and then
she can't get too close.
But like a good 60% of that movie, she has her clothes off. And my God, was I bored by that movie, because it's just like there's these extended 10-minute sequences of her just driving around in a van in Ireland, like looking for dudes on the street. Yeah, and she has almost no dialogue in the entire movie, and it just it's ponderously dull. Anyway, so yeah, if you know why 50 Shades of Grey, I mean, like, it's not like 50 Shades of Grey is the only book that's out there where you can, read about people boning.
Yeah.
Like, my mom used to she read those books all the time.
Books, yeah.
She had all the lady porn bone books, right? Just like stacks and stacks of them.
Back when I worked at the ebook architects, I converted many a lady porn book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, they were so great because they were so shitty. One whose name was, wait for it, Max Wild. And see,
dude, I want to make a Tinder profile right now. My name is Max Wild on it.
See, like Vanessa was the good girl who was engaged to, like, I don't know, the mayor's son or something.
Sure.
And she worked at the community outreach center.
Right.
And then on his motorcycle came Max Wild.
Oh, Max Wild, he's so bad.
And the name of the book?
Tell me.
Wild at Heart.
Yep. All right. It's funny because I was looking at Imager the other day, and they had this big thing that was a post of like useful URLs, and one of them was like a Tumblr that is just like open, like free ebooks that you can read on your Kindle. And so I pulled it up. It is all that.
Yeah.
It is all like, apparently these days, like I saw one. It was like a 50-book box set. I saw one that was like a 6-book box set that was just crypto porn, that was just like Bigfoot fucked my mom, type of stuff. And I'm like, it seems like if you're willing to look for it, Joe, there might be as many like trashy lady romance novels as there actually are clips of pornography on the internet.
It's pretty goddamn close.
I mean, maybe only like, 60% as many, but considering the amount of porno on the internet, that's pretty.
Well, depending on the age of the person who wrote it, there's like a 90% chance that the female protagonist is at least 16% Native American.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but that has to be a through line.
All right. So anyway, that was what I did. That was the crowning height of my last week, was just like, hey, I got to watch this really stupid movie. Also, Game of Thrones came back on.
We'll see. There you go.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
No, I don't watch that shit.
You didn't watch the show? Okay.
I've seen it. I'm just like, okay, I get it.
It was pretty good. I liked it. Last season got a little dull. But
just last season?
Yeah, I mean, I actually really liked everything. Last season just got a little ponderous, but I wasn't sure whether that was because they were setting up for a bunch of crazy shit to happen this season. And the first episode, at least, seemed like there was a lot of crazy shit happening. So I was like,
okay,
all right, cool. Yeah. So, but anyway, we're just about to the video game news. Before we do that, we got 2 movie trailers and one little bit of movie news to go over. First up, I believe this is today. Yep, yesterday, as of recording this, the Batman Killing Joke DC animated adaptation trailer came out.
Yes, it did.
That we watched right before we started. What do you think, Joe?
I mean, people are very polarized on the Killing Joke. Some like heralded as some of the finest Batman literature ever, and some are like, I don't get it. Kind of in between.
Yeah,
It's certainly not as shitty as some of the other Batman runs have been.
It's funny. I think when they were in this trailer, they were like the most brutal Batman story ever told, and I'm like, you guys have not read Arkham Asylum, honestly, where Joker sticks his finger up Batman's butt, and that actually
Batman
happens.
kind of likes it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I think that the thing that's most controversial about the Killing Joke, i.e., and we'll talk a little bit around this, the interaction between Joker and Barbara Gordon, right?
Yeah.
Is actually the least compelling part of the Killing Joke. Like, it definitely moves the plot along and raises some of the stakes. But I always thought the Killing Joke was interesting because of because it was Joker backstory that I had never run up against before. And it was really well done, I thought. But I don't know. I mean, the DC animated stuff has been kind of half and half. Like, did you see Dark Knight Returns? The part 1 and part 2 Dark Knight Returns that they did?
Probably.
Was the Frank Miller one? Yes. It left a real
well, because we've seen a lot. Like, the last one I remember was the one that was like the Bat Family with the Batmans and the Nightwing, and then Damian as Robin, and Batwing, and then Batwoman, but not Batgirl. Yeah.
I kind of dropped off the DC animated universe when they moved over to New 52, and I was just like, fuck a bunch of this. But that one was like as a direct adaptation. Like, I can think of a few. I'm not sure how many of them are direct adaptations of comics. I know Under the Red Hood was a comic. I know that Dark Knight Returns obviously is a comic, and I know they did a Superman versus the Elite that was a comic. I'm not sure as much about Flashpoint. I guess came directly from a comic. The trailer here looks like they're very directly animating it, like every frame there I recognize.
But with a weird, like, slightly grown up look from the Batman animated series, so it's still kind of like, for the topics that they're going to be covering, a bit childlike looking.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it is an animated, animated movie. I actually watched a little featurette where they talked about trying to get the best kind of like midpoint between the style of that comic, which, because that comic is super moody and shadowy and lights all over the place.
Not translate well into animation.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always been a big fan of the Killing Joke as a single story. Like, I felt like with the right work, it could have worked very well as a movie. Like, it has a beginning, a middle, and end. And the best part about it is that, like, you don't have to tell me what happened to Batman's family or anything. It's like, you could just start the movie and be like, because the beginning of this trailer is the beginning of that, where Batman drives to Arkham Asylum to have a conversation with the Joker.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel that we live in a world nowadays where you could just start a movie where Batman walks into a room where the Joker's being locked up, and you don't have to tell me. You don't have to go over in intimate detail. Because this movie actually tells you about the Joker, so you don't need an origin story for him. And none of us, we all know, babies know where Batman came from.
Yeah, Batman and Spider-Man. We're all aware of what happened.
Oh, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, good. Last Son of Krypton, parents got killed, bitten by a radioactive spider, we're good. I'm even starting to think that we can throw Wolverine in there too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, actually, now that I think about it, like, they haven't done Wolverine origin story since Wolverine Origins?
Well, the Wolverine.
Did that one go into his origins?
Oh, I think that was Trouble in Japan.
Yeah.
So
I think the X-Men Origins Wolverine was the last time they did any, like,
Wolverine backstory.
And it was just like, dude, fuck it. He's just got,
apparently he knows Liev Schreiber. It's real weird.
Yeah. Speaking of Wolverine, we also had a trailer last week that we didn't get a chance to cover for X-Men Apocalypse, and So, hey, Joe, what do you think about the trailer for X-Men Apocalypse?
I can't wait for people to throw money away at that fucking piece of shit.
It looks really dull.
Like, maybe it's the best thing ever if you watch the entire movie, but as far as trailers go, it is, children would find this laughable.
You know my favorite part of this trailer is, Joe?
What's that?
The fact that they use, like, the opening chords of Hey Man, Nice Shot by Filter.
Oh, no, I noticed that.
But then they don't actually use the song. They don't, like, because most trailers, you hear that, right? It's been in a half dozen trailers. And then when they go to the action montage, they go, hey, man,
right.
And here they just didn't even bother. They just used the opening bass line from Hey Man.
Well, what they should have done is when it was really actiony time, go woohoo!
What was song number 2 or whatever by Blur? I also don't know in this trailer why Charles Xavier is trying to punch Apocalypse. Using his
doesn't seem like a great idea.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be good, but I'm with you where I'm just like, it's like the most generic trailer. It's so generic, and nothing in it looks like offensive or anything outside of Nightcrawler's like weird jacket that he's wearing. But I don't know. I can't.
Like, what's the time period? I don't get it.
It's modern day.
Oh, okay.
No. Wait. It's got to be between Days of Future Past. No, it's got to be between. It's got to be between Days of Future Past. No, actually, it's got to be because we've seen Quicksilver, and he's the same age, right? So
it's got to be before X-Men's ones,
right? So yeah, like Charles Xavier has hair, but then in the other trailer, didn't he meet up with baldy Patrick Stewart?
Maybe.
Oh no. The first trailer they had at the very end, they like opened the door to Cerebro and his head is shaved, and it was just like very dramatic. Yeah. So it's got to be in the late 70s, early 80s, right?
Maybe.
No, I mean like it has to be because Quicksilver's the same age, and Jennifer Lawrence is still
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, she's still Mystique,
which is so weird. Like I was telling you before when we were watching it, I just don't get why she should be in these movies.
Now, are you saying that because she's too good for these movies, or the movies are too good for her, or like
no? Just like it's such a weird like thematic mismatch. It just doesn't work on a base level of like why.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel the same way I was telling you before we started about Olivia Munn. Like every time I see a picture of her in this movie, there's something about her face to me that just screams TV. And when I see her in a movie, I'm just like, what are you doing here? Go back to television. Maybe it's because she was in the dumb newsroom. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'll end up seeing this, but I don't think I'm going to go to the theater to see it.
Oh, no, I'm definitely going to get in on the critic screening for this.
Yeah,
There's no way I can pay money for it.
Like I cannot wait until Civil War is out next week.
Which I'm going to be going to the screener for that too.
Shut up! You just shut your goddamn mouth.
I'll tell you about it.
Don't tell me about it.
I mean, and then Captain America was all like, because Tony Stark.
Yeah, that sounds about what Captain America Civil War. Anyway, I don't know. It could be good. It could be bad. But. It mostly looks bad.
Any plans for a shitty video game tie-in?
No. They've kind of learned their lesson. There was actually a Batman versus Superman game that came out the same week as Batman versus Superman.
Really?
Yeah. It was an endless runner for the phone where you play as either Batman or Superman, and you just like swipe left, swipe right, swipe up to jump over a car.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, there was a part of me that really wanted to have it on the show, but then I realized, one, I'm not going to even find the HDMI out thing that I have for my phone. And two, it runs like ass on my phone. So I'm literally not going to ask my friends, hey, can somebody with a better phone like download this shitty app and then come over so you can play it on Rage? It's just really, but no, probably not. I still don't understand why they don't. This is the exact movie that they would make shitty tie-ins.
I think that looks like a Nightcrawler and a Michael Jackson.
Holy shit, it does. Okay, we stopped at 141 in the X-Men Apocalypse final trailer, and yeah, it looks like blue Michael Jackson standing behind Cyclops. It looks exactly like the fucking Thriller jacket.
I'm super confused.
God damn. All right. Now that would be awesome if it.
Wait, Michael Jackson was actually Nightcrawler?
Michael Jackson was a mutant the entire time. He's still alive. No, I don't know. That's probably in poor taste.
No, he probably could be.
All right. Next up, one more before we get into the video game news. Apparently, okay, I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently there's some kind of thing where they want to take the G.I. Joe cinematic universe.
Because that's a thing.
We'll use a very deep air quotes.
Yeah.
And add in Micronauts, Visionaries, Mask, and Rom the Space Knight.
Oh, boy.
Into a combined Marvel Cinematic Universe style.
Yeah, I got to feel that Marvel did a bad thing by leading in that.
Apparently, they've put together a whole bunch of people to work on this. Akiva Goldsman from A Beautiful Mind is in charge as the overseer of the writing room. We've got Michael Chabon, who wrote The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. Nicole Perlman, who was involved with Guardians of the Galaxy. Brian K. Vaughan.
If they
Joe
want
Robert
people
Cole.
to get paid for writing shit, I'm more than available.
Yeah. I think the thing that confuses me the most about the conceptual idea to this is the things. Okay, so let me put it this way. Let's run down this list, right? I can see G.I. Joe and Mask in the same universe. I can totally see that happening, right? I can see Mask and G.I. Joe in the same universe as Centurions or Inhumanoids or any of the modern day. Like, there's a bunch of different properties that you could do. Rom the Space Knight.
Yeah.
Visionaries is a medieval thing about guys with they've got staves and then like laser horses come out of them.
Yep.
And Micronauts, they shrink down real small. Is
that's covering your Ant-Man.
Okay, I guess. Like, it just seems like the Kmart Mexican knockoff figure version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Maybe they'll hook up with the GoBots.
That would be great. That would be great. I don't even know. This seems so weird. It seems like such a train wreck, Joe, that I kind of really want to watch it. I kind of really want to make sure that these things happen. And
maybe for X-Men Apocalypse 2, they'll have a crossover with the G.I. Joe universe.
I really want a universe where we can have Jason the Wheeled Warriors crossover with the Silverhawks, right?
Mm-hmm. And they all get taken in by Lone Star.
Holy shit! What if they added cops into this? That would probably be great. It's a future time, right? You get a bunch of you can totally see cops in this universe.
Or what was it, Samurai Pizza Cats?
Well, now that's just silly. What are you?
It's got to happen at some point.
Now, Samurai Pizza Cats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover. That'd be interesting. And then the SWAT cats come in, and you're just like, what?
Lay down the law.
Yeah. Anyway, this is just a weird piece of news that came up, and I was like, all right, so let's get on to the video game news. I don't know if you know this, Joe. I don't know if you've been following. This is a bad week for Nintendo.
Yes,
this is a bad day for fans of Nintendo. We're leading off with Nintendo. So yesterday, Nintendo tweeted out a couple of pieces of news. One, the Nintendo NX will be out Q1 of next year.
Wait, what is that?
That is the next console that they're building. Two, the new Legend of Zelda game has now been pushed out of 2016 to coincide with the launch of the Nintendo NX.
It'll be bad fucking move.
It will be out on both the NX and the Wii U.
They're big fans of doing the cross console releases, but it's okay to stagger them.
Yeah, and we'll get to some of the other ones in a minute. But then the third one that's kind of related to this is apparently Nintendo is bringing Zelda and only Zelda to E3 this year for people to play.
If it's not going to be out till 2017, that's a great idea.
So here's the thing. I'd like to take a moment to just ask Nintendo, what the fuck do you think you're doing?
Like, I would ask, do you hate money?
Like, by doing this, you have destroyed the Wii U. Like, why? Like, the Wii U? Okay, I have to look this up because I was reading this in another story. I cannot fucking believe that this is true.
Did it sell 3 units this year?
I think that it sold something like 12. It's been terrible. The Wii U has been basically GameCube 2 for them, or not quite as bad as Virtual Boy. Okay, so here is a Nintendo Wii U, 32 gig Mario Kart 8 pre-installed deluxe set.
Woo.
Okay. Do you see how much this fucking costs?
No, $30?
$300.
That's a lot for Mario Kart.
No, this is the Wii U full console and Mario Kart 8. This is what you get, right?
Okay.
You might be able to find a bundle that has just the Wii U. Here's the Wii U with Super Mario Maker. That's $300. Here's a Wii U console. Okay, that's a used one. But here's Wii U, Smash Brothers, and Splatoon for $400. Let me go over to GameStop's website and see if I can't find just
a Wii U.
Just a Wii U. I don't think you can buy them, but while we're doing that, let's just take a moment to remember that the Xbox One costs $300. And for $50 more, you get a PS4. Those $350. The Wii U's been out for 3 years now?
Mm-hmm.
And they still want a full $300 for it. It's like they haven't dropped the price. Yeah, see here again. Yeah, on GameStop's website, they're both just $299, $299. Yeah. So, okay, look, I'm not going to say that I think that this is a thing that that Nintendo shouldn't do. I personally think that they should release Zelda as soon as humanly possible to try to get some more sales.
Some interest.
Right, in the Wii U. But if you were going to do this, why would you even say it now? This is the end of April. We still go through May and June, and then I think at the beginning of July when E3 happens, you could have announced this at E3 and at least had 3 more months of like, I don't know, maybe some
I'll
sales.
Yeah.
Right, but who in their right mind is going to buy a Wii U now, especially it would also be another thing if they came out and said, where NX is coming out next year. Also, all Wii U's are on sale for $200 until next year, right?
Yeah.
Like, here's a bundle that has Splatoon and Mario Maker, 2 of our most popular games, $250. This is bada bing, right? Like, why would you tell people if they purchase this between now and then it's going to be useless? And that's forgetting the fact that there's still games left this year for the Wii U. there's I mean, poor fucking Atlas has made the Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensei crossover Tokyo Sessions hashtag FE
like Super Persona thingies.
Yeah, it's literally Shin Megami Tensei, but instead of summoning the creatures from that series, they're summoning Fire Emblem characters.
Well, that's kind of fucking
to fight
weird.
each other in a big J-pop arena, and then during the day you walk around on the streets and you build up your street cred.
I'm kind of on board for that.
I like this idea. I look at it and go, this is exactly the kind of crazy Japanese horse shit that I am into. Of like, oh yeah, we use pop star power to power up to fight against the darkness. I'm like, do it, man.
Oh, hey, I just had a personal epiphany.
All right, tell me.
So part of my problem with getting and playing the modern games is I just don't have a lot of time. I'm always on the go, baby.
Right.
So what about a mobile gaming device?
Like a 3DS?
That's what I'm wondering. Is that a video game solution for me?
Are you asking me this completely separated? Are you making a point here? Or are you just asking this?
No, I'm seriously asking.
Like separated from? Yeah, dude. I mean, like, fuck yeah. I'll let you borrow my new 3DS. The thing is badass.
Okay.
Like, the 3D actually totally works on it, and it's got like 2 sticks and a bunch of shoulder buttons.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
This might be what I need to get into the modern age.
But I'm trying to figure here. Let's see. Wii U games. All Wii U games. I want to see like upcoming. Sort by. Let's see. I'm trying to find a list here of like upcoming Wii U releases. Actually, I might be able to do it from this list here. But in any case, I mean, at least that Shin Megami Tensei game. I mean, maybe they. Let's see, Wii U. All right, let's roll through here. Blah, 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 January. At least they waited until after Star Fox was out to say this, right?
That's true.
But like, okay, so this is still April. I mean, shit. Before the month is even out, we've got Lost Reavers, which is a free-to-play game that Bandai Namco, I believe, is created, and Nintendo has this like other free-to-play, like put your amiibos down, and it makes you dumb thing. But all right, so this is what's after Tokyo Mirage Sessions #FE, June 24th. Lego Star Wars. I'm going to go with just stuff that's just coming out on the Wii U. No, that one's already out. Gianna Sisters 2, Hex Heroes, Hive Jump, Jotun Kerbal Space Program, which I always thought would be great. Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. Yeah, no, I know. Let's see. Oh, they announced like 2 months ago a new Paper Mario game, Paper Mario Color Splash for the Wii U. Like, that's been thrown under the bus too. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Every game that is left to come out, why would you do that? Like, I mean, I don't know. It seems like if you wanted to, you could have given people a reason to do this. Yeah, Terraria. Okay, so those are the big ones. There's Mario and Sonic, Tokyo Sessions, and the other one that I just said. What did I just say?
I already forgot.
Okay. Sorry, people. But why? Why Nintendo? Why? Like, I've actually been on this show several times to saying that, like, if you could get a Wii U, like, let's say that Nintendo dropped the price, and right now you could buy a Wii U for $200, I could firmly recommend that to people because it's been out for 3 years. You've got Splatoon, Bayonetta, a Mario Brothers game. You've got Fatal Frame game that came out that I kind of liked. I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff up there for it right now. There's a Mario Kart game. There's a bunch of different games that you could be playing on it. but to keep it at full price and then give people literally a disincentive to even pick one up.
It's a tough row to hoe.
I do not fucking understand. So there's that. So a little bit of good news. So there was a lawsuit that was brought back in 2013 against Nintendo by another company that I have literally never heard of until this happened, Tomita Technologies, that basically said that the tech that they are using for the 3D screen on the 3DS is a patent violation.
Oh, sons of bitches!
Because they came up with that already. Well, apparently this was going to, if the courts decided on for Tomita Technologies, this was going to cost Nintendo something like $30.2 million in damages.
Okay,
which is not a huge amount, but you don't want to lose $30 million.
Ouchies,
right? Well, apparently last week in court, the courts decided that the technology was significantly different enough that Nintendo's out of the weeds with that one. So
nice. Was this in Japan or was this here?
Pretty sure it was in Japan. This is federal judge Jed Rakoff. That sounds like a super Japanese name, right?
Yeah, the Rakoff clan.
Right. So yeah, good news for them. Which is the last bit of good news, because I have one more bit of bad news for Nintendo. Which, again, given what they just did, this isn't a direct response, but apparently the last fiscal year they saw a 60% drop in profits.
Ooh.
There's some numbers you can get into with this, but basically Nintendo, I feel like, is really betting the farm on the NX and whatever they show at E3 this year. Like, okay, I think that we've danced around this point for too long, and I've said it multiple times, is that, like, Nintendo can say whatever the fuck they want to. The Wii U has been a failure. It's not not accessible enough like the Wii was. Wasn't powerful enough and came out too close to the PS4, Xbox One era.
It was a giant what the fuck. Why?
To run those same games. No game, I'm going to be real honest here. Okay, not no game. Most games do not use the pad for any good thing whatsoever. They managed to get by with stuff like Monster Hunter and some of the Mario, some of the things that the Nintendo is known for, their own first party things. But outside of some of the stuff that they themselves have funded, like Bayonetta, I feel like I don't really know why you would recommend, outside of some of the games that you can't play on any other console. I don't know why you would go to the store with $300 and look at a PlayStation 4, an Xbox One, and a Wii U and go, I want the Wii U. I mean, nothing wrong with Kirby's Epic Yarn, nothing wrong with Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD came out earlier this year. Maybe you want to play Twilight Princess in HD, whatever. But I just feel like the Wii really captured non-gamers' imaginations in a really specific way.
Yeah.
That you had grandmas playing tennis and everybody looked happy in the thing. The Wii U felt like they were trying to split the difference, but that they didn't make anybody happy.
No,
like hardcore gamers were like, "Fuck this! I want a regular controller that's not this bullshit." And grandmas and such were like, "Is this a new console?
Do I sit on it?
What do I do with this?
It pleases me."
So hopefully, now before we finish out with this story, I would just like to make sure to reiterate the point that I always make, Joe, which is that I really hope that the Nintendo NX comes in and sweeps the gaming world by force and is just like the rebirth of Nintendo as a force to be reckoned with, as like every third-party game is going to have a release on the Nintendo NX as well as the PS4 and the Xbox One, because I want nothing more, again, than for all three of these motherfucking greedy-ass companies to fight each other to the death.
Actually work for like a decent product.
For my dollar. I want them to knife fight in the street for I want Reggie and fucking whoever that new douchebag at Microsoft is, and fucking whoever the new douchebag at Sony is, like in a dirty alley trying to get every penny that I own by undercutting the shit out of each other.
It's like a they live three-way.
Exactly. Because it's the only way that we manage to get anything out of the video game industry is if they could just run right along. It's like we get these stories all the time about how much better the PS4 is selling, and I'm like, that's great. I really wish that Microsoft would catch the fuck up, because I want the reason the Xbox One is $300 and the PlayStation 4 is still $350 is because Sony is still goddamn riding like the goodwill from the PS4 announcement over the Xbox One. Xbox One and PS4 used to cost, well, actually the Xbox One used to be $400. Then they cut the Kinect out of the bundle, and then it was $350. And then they literally slashed their price down to $300 just to try to get ahead of Sony. But Sony's still managing to get forward on their the goodwill that they fostered. So I want Nintendo to come out of the gate at E3 and show me a new Metroid game and a Zelda game for 20 minutes, and it's fucking awesome, and a Mario game the likes of which I've never goddamn seen before. And I don't know, maybe take Sonic and put Sonic in the new Mario game and make Sonic good again, or whatever, or here's a new BioWare RPG that is only on the Nintendo NX, or...
And you need to use that stupid paddle. Oh, wait, no paddles.
Yeah. Well, hey, the only thing that we've seen so far from Nintendo is... you were here when we did the bullshit trademark thing, and then we had to retract it the next week, right? A little pad that they made.
Yeah.
Like, if they're just making a gamepad that just has a big screen on it that actually has all the control interfaces, as every other system has the same set, 2 sets of shoulder buttons, 4 face buttons, a D-pad, 2 analog sticks, and then 2 other buttons on it, right?
Yep.
Like, if they could just make a controller that has that, you could put any other dumb horse shit you want on it. A little plant hanging off the side of it, a little cell phone charm,
a little kitty that tells you good job.
Sure, sync it to your iPhone. I don't give a fuck what it is, but yes, because you remember when we did were you here when we did the Mitomo thing? And I was like, what the fuck is Mitomo for?
Oh, yeah.
And like, I don't think anybody knows, because I think the people installed it and then went, what the fuck is this? And then it's just asking me personal questions about myself. All right, so let's move on from there I think this is going to be the last Uncharted 4 A Thief's End Naked Drake. Nathan Drake.
Did they promise?
I think so. I think that Naughty Dog I think they want to move on to something else. Your tone says that you're not a big fan of
the Nathan Fillion ripoff. Yeah,
yeah.
Really.
So have you ever played any of these before?
Yeah, I mean they're fun enough, but it's just bro ventures.
Okay. I don't know. I think that every time I see a trailer for these, like they really look spectacular. This is only 30 seconds long, so it's a short trailer. But yeah, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed in Uncharted 3, and they've managed to get me re-excited for Uncharted 4 by showing all these different trailers.
Well, I think that Nathan Drake really needs to invest in some sort of like grappling gloves, like for mountain climbers, because he's always perilously hanging off of something.
Sure.
Like, just fuck it, dude.
Have you seen any of the gameplay for this?
Keep some rope.
Have you seen any of the gameplay for it?
No.
There's a whole new mechanic where he has like a rope that he just throws out, and you can just swing off of the side of things and then climb up the rope or do whatever.
It's about fucking time.
Yeah. So yeah, go watch it. Looks real good, but beware.
Uh-oh.
Beware.
He's gonna stick his finger up your butt?
Nope. Apparently in the UK, a shipment of Uncharted 4 games was like hijacked from a truck, mafia style,
like Fast and Furious 1 style.
Yeah, exactly. So there is a good chance that it's out there in the wild, and while Sony and Naughty Dog have the oomph to probably keep it off of twitching YouTube, right?
Not off of Rage Select.
Well, no, I don't have one. I don't. If I did,
well, then what's that?
No, that's just a box. That's where I keep the taco wrappers.
Oh, okay.
It just has an Uncharted 4 logo on it. But I guess here's the thing: you never can tell what assholes will do on Twitter or social media or whatever. So if you really, really give a shit about what's going to happen, I'm sure it's only a matter of time. Oh fuck! God damn it!
Yeah. All
right, I'm not gonna. No, I just remembered that. Like, I'm not gonna. It probably won't be this week, but whenever we do a live stream on Rage Select, people like to just jump into the chat and then just start spamming a spoiler for whatever the latest thing is. They did it when Star Wars came out, the first weekend after it came out.
Yeah.
They went into the chat and they were like, so-and-so dies. And then they tried to do it for 10 Cloverfield Lane, and that didn't work. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody knew what the fuck they were talking about, and nobody gave a shit. And then they also did it for, there was one other one, but I think it was like Daredevil, but everybody had already seen it, or Deadpool. No, I don't know. It was something else, but nobody gave a shit. But this is exactly the sort of fucking thing that those fucking pawn scum pieces of taint shit love to do, where they love to just be like, what? I mean, there's one guy where I banned him and then he came back in. He was just like, what? I'm just trying to say that at the end of Star Wars Episode 7, blah, 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 kills blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, dude, just fucking get out of here. It's the first weekend. Like, just.
I'm a journalist.
Fucking get out of here, you fucking wank.
Go back to Fuckheadville.
Oh, no, it was Batman versus Superman, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well,
and what happens at the very end of Batman versus Superman, and then everybody's kind of like, eh. They come in, and everybody in the chat was just kind of like, fucking whatever, man. So, yeah, watch yourself. You best watch yourself. Them spoilers, they be out there. I'll tell you, so the Uncharted franchise seems like there's nothing that you can do to stop it. It's going to just keep on going, right?
Okay.
What is another franchise that that we thought that we'd seen the end of last
Mass
week?
Effect.
Nope. Mass Effect Andromeda is a well-known thing. I'm talking about things that we didn't know about.
Oh, you're saying in the future.
Yes. There was an announcement last week. There was a teaser. There was a thing
like
of
a Red Dead sort of thing?
Nope. Red Dead 2. We already know that that's probably going to be a thing.
Well, then fucking say it, genius man.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So Scott Cawthorn, the maker of Five Nights at Freddy's, put out a little thing on the website that says sister location. And it says there was never just one. And in the background, there's a picture of what looks like another animatronic thing. It could be one of the ones. Five Nights at Freddy's fans, I don't give a fuck that I don't know. You can scream all day. That's Bonnie. That's Golden Switchhead. That's fucking Master Blaster. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, dude, it's Poopadoodle. You should know that.
Yep. I did think that would be kind of interesting because it's been to be frank, right? There have been 4 regular Five Nights at Freddy's games and Five Nights at Freddy's World, and Five Nights at Freddy's started a year and a half ago.
Wow.
2 years.
Okay, so
they come out really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But the last time that we actually had a game that had animatronics in it was Five Nights at Freddy's 3.
Okay.
And there was only one animatronic in it. Holy shit, I just remembered I had a Five Nights at Freddy's nightmare last night.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, it's great. They're making a movie. He wrote a book. I mean, it kind of seems to me like, just let it go and do something else already. But, whatever.
He's getting them shekels.
I mean, I don't know how dude doesn't already have all the shekels. Like, he put out 5 Five Nights at Freddy's games that all did amazingly well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were all dirt cheap, right? But they're on Android. They're on Steam. They're like overwhelmingly
what
positive.
you don't understand is you can't have enough money ever. That's the rule.
Dude, I can have enough money.
No,
I can have enough
obviously.
money.
Look
No.
at the economy.
Dude, give me I go conservative. $2 million.
Oh, like
$1 million.
so a poor person money.
Yes.
Okay.
$1 million. Maybe 2 just to be safe, right?
Just in case you want a new car.
Hey, if there's anybody out there with $2 million who wants to buy the lucrative hype machine that is Rage Select, just call me.
Yeah, the juggernaut.
Yeah. Give me a call. Mail at rageselect.com. Please don't title your email how to make your penis bigger or your Amazon package is waiting for pickup.
How to make your penis bigger with $2 million.
Actually, that's the funny thing is that somebody could probably send me an email and be like, I want to buy your site for $2 million. And I'll be like, this is some.
Fuck off.
And you're from Nigeria. Oh, yeah, I believe this. And it'd just be like, oh, man, I really was trying to give him $2 million.
Nigerian royalty can't buy shit anymore. Thanks, scammers.
Yep. Next up on the hit parade, we got 12 minutes worth of Shadow Warrior 2.
Whoa.
Have you did you get to play Shadow Warrior with me, Joe?
No.
Do you know what Shadow Warrior is?
No.
Okay. So back, a brief history lesson for all of you folks out there who don't know or never watched our
What's
videos.
with all them Nagas?
Well, it's hold on, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So back in the olden days, you remember the company 3D Realms?
Sure.
3D Realms decided that Duke Nukem was a hit.
Yeah.
That they wanted to make another game that was like Duke Nukem, except more of an offensive Asian stereotype.
Excellent.
So they created a game called Shadow Warrior, and the main protagonist was known as Lo Wang, and he made a bunch of kind of caricature East Asian kind of jokes. So then, like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, Devolver Digital, a publishing house that publishes a lot of little indie games, I really like them. They picked up the publishing rights for this game, Shadow Warrior, which was a reboot of Shadow Warrior.
Yes.
It was a Kickstarter, I believe, and it was like a first-person hack and slash, and you had like swords, and like the trailers all showed Lo Wang doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, like shooting ancient Japanese machine guns.
Right. And I was like, this is dumb. This looks like it's kind of offensive, and two, it looks really like generic. Then I played it at, I believe it was RTX like 2 years ago or something like that. And I was like, this is actually pretty fun. And then I emailed, it was actually the first game where I emailed Devolver Digital and said, hey, I work for Rage Select. And I would like to feature your game, Shadow Warrior, on our show. Do you think I could get a code for Steam? And the email that I got back was 10 minutes later, and it just said, BAM! And it had a Steam code beneath it. And I was like,
go.
And I played this game, and I ended up fucking loving it. Like, Lo Wang in this game is such a nerd, and he's so kind of like goofy. He's a lot kind of like people always describe Dante from Devil May Cry to me.
Okay.
The gameplay is a mix of like weird over-the-top gunfighting, melee samurai sword action, and then magic on top of that.
Yeah.
And it had this story where it's like, oh, a demon is trapped inside of Lo Wang's head, and he has to help him save the world. And like, it all starts out as kind of like gratuitous swearing and one-liners, and then it actually turns into a really fun storyline over time.
That's adorable.
So this is the sequel. There's 12 minutes out there. It looks just bananas Foster action. Like it's just running around with swords and chopping stuff up and blowing stuff up and then chopping stuff up and blowing stuff up. We skipped over, but at the very beginning, it seems like Lo Wang has a new demon voice in his head, or just straight up voice in his head. But this time, that voice is a persnickety lady who doesn't want to be in his head. And then the gameplay looks like it's maybe a little bit more open world than the first one was. The first one had a little bit of open worldishness, but this one seems like you can really kind of big arenas, lots of over-the-top weapons, magic and such. I don't know. We're watching it right now. Joe, what do you think about what you're seeing here?
I like it. It's got the pew pew with the QQ.
Yeah. I think that it's one of those. I think that as I was watching this trailer, I found myself having the exact same reaction that I had to the trailers of Shadow Warrior 1, where I feel like this trailer is way too long at 12 minutes.
A little bit.
And that eventually, like, it starts to work against the actual game by you just kind of seeing the person that's playing it kind of do the same
Doing
moves
the same shit over and
over again. Whereas when you're actually playing it, I feel like it's a real frenetic game that comes off real well. I mean, they had really good enemy design and arena design and stuff like that in the first one. But it's real over the top. I can't wait for the second one to come out. I think that the first one was a real surprise. It was
dude. Ancient Japanese machine guns. I'm all about it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think the beginning of Shadow Warrior is Lo Wang driving his car, and he's like, the touch is on from the Transformers soundtrack is on the radio in his car, and he starts like really badly singing along to it. It's a really interesting game. Like, I really want to go back and play it. But I just haven't had the time recently. So, but yeah, you guys should check it out if you're into Shadow Warrior at all. Next up, there was a leak last week on the PlayStation Network where it looks like the next Call of Duty game is going to be called Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Shouldn't it just be called Infinite Entries into the catalog?
I don't know. I do know that I feel like they've kind of... I feel like if I ever become a video game designer, Joe...
Or a video game.
I'm never going to name a thing Infinite because it feels like, where the fuck do you go from here? Like
inner space.
Right.
Yeah,
BioShock Infinite,
So I think the next Call of Duty is you're going to turn super tiny, and then you have to go inside somebody's body and fight germs.
Do the germs have like AK-47s that you can pick up? Okay, that sounds about right. There's already been a rumor out there that the next one's going to take place in space. So it was Modern Warfare, Advanced Warfare, and now Infinite Warfare.
Yeah, super fucking in the future warfare.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I liked Call of Duty Advanced Warfare because it had Hella Keller. It had Hella Kevin Spacey in it. Yeah. And hey, spoiler alert! OMG, he was the bad guy.
Oh,
no,
I didn't see that coming.
He's literally Frank Underwood in that game. I don't know how the fuck those people didn't know what was going on. And that was also the game that brought us press the A button to pay your respects, like your best friend's funeral or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, this was listed on the PlayStation Network very briefly, and then it was taken down. But it seems like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is probably going to be the next thing. Again, we'll find out at E3. I'm sure that they will be announcing that bullshit. Next up on the rumors /hype /leak train, apparently Mark Dara, the executive producer for, I believe, the last Dragon Age game, tweeted a thing where he's basically got a little book that he opens up. It's got like a little castle with fire coming off of it, and inside it says EA internal use only, property of BioWare /EA. So there's probably going to be a new Dragon Age game pretty soon.
Whatever. You don't have to be a douchebag and announce it that way.
Yeah. That's kind of one of those things where I'm like, I'd almost rather you just fucking keep that shit to yourself.
Just keep it in your pocket.
Yeah, wait until E3 to tell me instead of all of this. But hey, you know what? The last Dragon Age game, I was like about.
Whatever.
This is kind of like, it was decent enough story and it was decent enough visuals, but I felt like the gameplay was real copy paste. Just hit this button, hit this button, hit this button, dead. Hit this button, hit this button, hit this button, dead. So I don't know. Hopefully, in my mind, they'll do something better with the actual gameplay mechanics of Dragon Age next time around. Speaking of sequels with bad mechanics, Fallout 4 is now has mod support on the PC.
There we go.
You
Make
can,
them righties.
Yep, they're in open beta right now where you can opt into the build. You have to have patch 1.5, and then apparently when you bring the game up, you can basically bring up all the Steam mods and install them and do whatever you want to. So it is only a matter of time, I believe, until there is some sick weirdo out there who has felt the need to make the dragons in Skyrim into Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Death Claws in Fallout 3 into Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
So pretty sure that if it's not already there, it's only a matter of time until...
Dogmeat is Macho Man Randy Savage?
No, the Death Claws in Fallout 4 are Macho Man Randy Savage.
No, that's predictable.
Oh, you got to do something else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me a reason for the Macho Man.
Is there like, can we do a full mod where it's like, okay, so the Yagwai are all The Rock and like all of the let's pick another.
You're talking about a Royal Rumble.
So with some of the others, all the Raiders are John Cena. They all do the fucking face thing.
Well, how far back are we going? Because there's got to be some Iron Sheiks as power armor.
Oh yeah, Iron Sheik style power armor. Sure, I can get with it. So apparently, yeah, this is up right now. So if you've got Fallout 4 on the PC, you can get it. Apparently, in June, they're also, and I still don't fucking know how this is going to work. The Xbox One and the PS4 are both supposed to be getting mod support as well.
Interesting.
I think the Xbox One's supposed to get it. I thought this article on Game Informer says mods will be coming to Xbox One in May. Oh, okay. Xbox One in May, PlayStation 4 in June, because Microsoft made some funky deal where they get mod support first.
Hell yeah.
For Fallout 4. And I still don't really know how this is going to work. Like, do you have to submit your mod to Bethesda and then they list it through, or does Fallout 4 on the consoles access the Steam App Store? Like,
yeah, it's real weird.
I still don't know how the fuck it's supposed to work. I also am curious to know that, like, if you submit a mod that breaks Fallout 4 and then you download that mod on your console, like, can you, like, because I know that, say, Skyrim had, like, all of these high texture mods.
Yeah.
But there was actually one last week where it's just like they completely redid all the cities in Skyrim to make them look better. Well, that makes sense on the PC where you can have like 6 times the recommended requirements for Skyrim, right?
Yeah.
But on the PlayStation 4, it's like, or the Xbox One, if you download that mod, is it going to fuck up your performance of the game?
It's pretty much just they would limit to like content variety as opposed to like performance, because that seems a little too iffy to let.
But see, I can't see, like, have you ever been to the Steam mod store for a game that has mods? I can't see Bethesda spending the time to curate all of the bullshit mods that people put out. So it's like, well, are they going to test every fucking one of them before they publish them on the console?
I think for console, it's definitely they could take the caveat emptor route, but with consoles, they would have to make sure that it doesn't brick somebody's PS4.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess there's no way that Fallout 4 could have enough access to like root a PS4, right?
So we think, but you just created a challenge.
All right, so that's going to be odd. We'll take a look at it, or I don't know. I'll take a look at it and see if there's anything worth. I've never been like I've done some mods over time, but most mods I have the problem with because it's like, I'll just play on my game, and then, oh, look, here's a really poorly made lightsaber that doesn't fit in with the environment at all. Or, oh, you changed all the horses so that they look like super detailed, but everything else still looks like garbage, and now my horses look really out of place in all of Skyrim. So, I don't know. I usually don't fuck with mods all that much, but, well, maybe see. All right. So were you on, Joe, when we were talking about Blizzard shutting down the World of Warcraft server? No, I don't believe that was you. People were running a version like 1.0 World of Warcraft server.
Okay.
They called it vanilla, right? It was like before the first expansion, I believe. So all the mechanics were still the way they were back in the early game. And Bethesda a couple weeks ago threw out a cease and desist order and made them shut it down.
Oh.
And I feel like people were definitely unhappy about that. So this week, Blizzard, and it's funny because this story comes with the very patronizing headline of Blizzard responds to pirate server shutdown controversy by explaining how copyright works, which sounds like it's a dig at Blizzard, right? Well, when you read it, it's actually not. There's a thing about copyright law, right? And you probably know this, and I didn't think about it when it first came up, where if you don't vigorously defend your copyright, you actually erode your own ability to defend your copyright in the future. Yep. So the way that Blizzard is framing this is they put out a statement basically like, there is nothing in our terms of service or copyright for World of Warcraft that would let you do what you're doing. So we have to shut you down because by allowing you to operate, we're kind of opening the door for other people who maybe do the next step down on the nefarious list who would actually have a legal argument of like, well, you let these guys do it. Yeah. So we're just doing kind of similar stuff where we're altering your code for our own blah, 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 blah.
Now, of course, they could actually facilitate this somehow by being like, okay, well, let's have this actually sponsored version.
Have an official 1.0 server or something like that. Ah, man. Yeah, there's so many weird, like having seen some of the way that this stuff goes, it's like, you know, there's probably some outstanding bugs that you'd never be able to patch, and you couldn't actually like take away. I don't know. Yeah, when this first came out, I asked this question of like, I feel like Blizzard should maybe go to their audience base and just be like, if you guys are willing to pay $15 a month, we will run you a 1.0 server. Because there was something like 800,000 people on that server or something like that.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good lead amount.
So, yeah, if you could get them to pay for it, then I guess why not? But I thought this was interesting because when I first read the headline, I was like, this is going to be a dig at Blizzard. But when you think about it, it actually makes quite a bit of sense that you can't just let somebody out there rip off your trademark.
That's why you vigorously defend Rage Select.
That's correct.
You kicked that kid real hard in the face.
He had it coming, Joe. That shirt was not sanctioned. I did not print that shirt.
You didn't get any shekels off of that.
It's my logo. $2 million. I'm telling you, that's all it's going to take. Hit me up. All right, so let's run through the rest of these because I feel like we're getting a little bit long on time here. They're putting out a Dead Island Definitive Edition.
Okay. Which I fucking love Dead Island, first off.
Dead Island Riptide, and a new Endless Runner game called Dead Island something. PS4, Xbox One, PC. There's a joke in here about just let the franchise fucking die already and quit dragging it out of its grave. I don't dislike Dead Island, but motherfucker, like
I would like something actually new and good.
You remember Dead Island 2 trailer?
Mm-hmm.
With fucking Jack Black in them, where they got the guy running down the street and all the zombies are following him, and then he turns into a zombie, and it's great. Where the fuck is that?
Yeah, I'd really like to fucking see that.
Or how about Dying Light 2? I just went back and played all the way through Dying Light so we could play the following and expansion for it. And that game was like Dead Island, but better because it also had hardcore parkour in it. So
say porn.
Yeah, no, hardcore pornography. I'll give you maybe $20. Probably not even that for both of these
because I still got my originals.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite glamour supermodel, John Romero, is creating a new game called Black Room that is on Kickstarter right now.
What is this gallery?
It is okay. So the premise of it is that there's like a technology where that like you can make any environment in your head, and it's all happens in this black room, and then something's gone wrong, and so your character has to go in to figure out what's wrong. So it's going to be like a bunch of different worlds.
Are you going into the holodeck?
Sort of, I think. It's called the Black Room.
The holodeck, right?
The Black Room. But apparently your character, like they show a little bit. Okay, so they talk. Ms. Romero talks about how there's going to be like circle strafing. It's him and Aiden Carmack, not John Carmack, but like Aiden, who worked also at id Software, making a new kind of like big fancy shooter. And apparently they show a little concept art of like you're going to be able to have this little wrist PDA that lets you adjust the game world and stuff. Yeah, but it's going to let you do stuff like, because you're inside of a simulation, like you can change environmental stuff in order to.
So whoa, hold on. This is Scribblenauts.
Sort of, yeah. Scribblenauts, the first-person shooter.
Okay. Just clarifying.
Now, I don't know. Let's just remember that John Romero got us all hyped up for Daikatana before you give to his Kickstarter. All right? I never forget. And let's see. What is he looking for? He would like $700,000 to make this. With 30 days left to go right now, they're at $119,901.
So...
Doubtful.
Nah.
Maybe. Adrian, not Aiden. Sorry, Adrian Carmack. Sorry, you who were yelling into your headphones
and
at your iPhone.
Aiden.
So yeah, and I say I'll donate if they bring back Kill Creek too. So I'm looking for another Kill Creek John Romero joint to happen.
Okay, well,
do you remember who Kill Creek is?
No.
Just like this really hot blonde lady that was like a level designer, and like she would send a bunch of whatever.
Were you gonna say pornography?
I think she's like some topless stuff.
Okay.
Yep. All right, couple quick announcements, and then we'll be out of here. Hey, do you have Beatles Rock Band? Do you own Beatles Rock Band? Oh, I sure do. Harmonix has said that as of May 5th, they've lost licenses to sell the DLC for Beatles Rock Band. Those are 3 full albums: Abbey Road, Rubber Soul, and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
What? No Revolver?
No Revolver. I'd have to look at the original track list to see how many of those are actually on there. But so if you want, let's see, when this podcast is coming out, you will have a week left. You'll have like 5 days left. I really like playing Beatles Rock Band. I think that I actually I know I own Abbey Road. I'm pretty sure I own Sgt. Pepper's. There's a part of me that wants to be like, how much is it for Rubber Soul? $10? Like, I'm not the biggest fan of that as an album, as a Beatles album, but because this is one of those things where you can still download what you've already purchased, but you just can't purchase it after May 5th. So, FYI, get out there. Okay, so how do you remember Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember there was another game that was supposed to come out called Tekken Cross Street Fighter? Like, Street Fighter Cross Tekken was Capcom's game that had Street Fighter and Tekken characters that kind of played like Street Fighter, and then Tekken Cross Street Fighter was going to be a Tekken made by Namco Tekken game that had Street Fighter characters in it. So there was an interview last week where the Tekken series producer Katsuhiro Harada was like, it's just not the right time to release this right now, so we're not canceling it, but we are just gonna be kind of maybe not like
working. Is that a way of saying it's shit
directly on it? What's that?
Is that a way of saying it's shit?
No. I feel like the thing here is that Jason Murphy and I played Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I believe, on the loading bar at Spill.
Mm-hmm.
This game was announced like a year and a half before that. I'm just going to say, guys, don't talk about Tekken Cross Street Fighter. When they ask you about it, just be like, next question.
Hey, I'm working on this puppy game. It's got lots of puppies.
Right. Because, of course, he can't come out and just be like, well, that game's never coming out. But we're not going to officially cancel it, but it's never coming out.
That's right. It's suspending its presidential campaign.
Right. So, yeah. Between the release of Street Fighter V and our coming up release of Tekken 7, we just don't feel like this is exactly the right time for blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, yeah. But I'm going to say right now, don't hold your fucking breath. Last but certainly not least, I'm going to skip over one of our stories. Steam is selling movies from Lionsgate now.
Okay, super.
So, Hidetaka Miyazaki, CEO of From Software, my Dark Souls boy, has said that From Software is already working on a new property.
Nice.
Hooah!
Oh,
So,
boy.
Yep.
It's going to be Angel Spirits.
Well, it's not going to be Bloodborne or Dark Souls, so
That's right.
I want fingers crossed for Shadow Tower 3, Kingsfield 6, or Kingsfield 5, or something brand new. Just please not Armored Core. Please, please, please not Armored Core. I can't get into those games. I don't know why. I love giant robots. I just can't fucking deal with Armored Core. So, yep. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to do the emails. That was very close to infringing upon the strong bad copyright, but so stick around and we will be back momentarily. And we're back. And Joe, it's time for questions.
Oh, like what?
Well, like an inquisitive statement made to another person.
Yeah, but what are they asking?
Well, lots of different stuff. They're asking us all about life and video games and the universe and everything. Mail@ragesite.com is the email address. Let's jump right in. Our first one comes in from Katie J, who says, "Dear Jeff and most likely sexy and underwear guest."
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely right.
I got a goddamn bone to pick with Cracked. The honest commercials are funny. Yes, soda's bad. Yes, diamonds are terrible. Shiny rocks. Yes, car sales are totally shitty. But now they've attacked video games, specifically us, the consumer. The honest commercial showed Roger showing off a fancy game system that will just be replaced in 2 years with games that are essentially the same thing, with cheap ways to nickel and dime us to death. But as is with these honest commercials, he can tell us exactly what they're doing, and we will still buy the same bullshit month after month. Madden farts out a duplicate every year. Call of Duty Battlefield and countless others release plain old broken games with DLCs that cost more than a reasonable price for just maps and guns. Although I don't buy these games regularly, and certainly not the vast majority of DLC, I am still part of the problem. I limit myself only to story DLC, but is that enough? I love video games, but is it too late for us to make a stand, or are video games in the hands of corporate greedy, of the corporate and greedy for the foreseeable future? Sorry for this huge rant, but I'm really pissed off at the industry and us about this subject. Please tell me I'm wrong so that I can stop feeling bad. And if I'm right, send me a hug and a cup of coffee because I got some Banner Saga 2 to play. Thank you so much, KDJ. So I know you haven't. Have you ever watched any of the Cracked, like, honest commercials?
No.
Where they have this old guy, older dude named Roger, who basically comes out and it's just kind of him in like a white background, basically kind of doing like a fake commercial, but then pointing out all the things about the things. Where,
Yeah.
So I actually went and watched this one. I a lot of times I don't watch those because I don't find them like super funny. So KJ, before we get started on this, allow me to just say, I listen to the Cracked podcast all the time, and I watch like a lot of their videos they put up online.
You do.
I do. I like Cracked a little bit. I feel like they've gotten off on a little bit of a weird tangent over the last year, but the one thing that Cracked is really bad at is talking about video games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have one show called Escort Mission where it's like Michael Swaim, who's on After Hours. Have you ever watched any of the Cracked stuff?
No.
Okay. Well, one of their guys, Michael Swaim, is on there as like a geeky video game guy, and then his roommate is like this jock who doesn't know anything about video games, and it's always framed as like the jock coming out and being like, "Oh, is this the new Mortal Kombat?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh man, I love this game," and the other guy's like, "Shut up, I have to listen to the story," and he's like, "What do you mean Mortal Kombat doesn't have a story?" And then he's like, "No, Shao Kahn has come back from the outworld, blah blah." It always makes the game part seem stupid.
Yeah.
And in a lot of their, I mean, like I've heard Jack O'Brien on the podcast and he doesn't know shit about video games. David Wong stopped playing video games a long time ago. And even though I think that guy's real smart on their podcast about a lot of cultural stuff, he obviously has a pretty big disdain for video games, which is strange because Cracked is all about pop culture and they all fucking love movies so much, but they don't have like a single person who seems to really know jack shit about video games.
Okay.
So that particular video, you know, it had some truisms that have been a problem that we've been talking about for a long time. Like one of the things they talk about in that video is early access and how, as a culture, video gamers will now pay for unfinished, broken video games.
Yes,
really, totally true. I feel like early access is a huge problem. They talk about the DLC, you know, where, you know, Star Wars Battlefront wants $50 for DLC on a $60 game, right? That's also a problem. But there were some other things about it that were a little hollow. saying like, buy this console and you'll have to buy another one in 2 years. Well, that's
not even true.
That's not really
close to true.
Now, granted, that comes on the heels of the whole PlayStation Neo and Xbox modular upgrade that we're currently talking about, right? But even the Nintendo Wii U has been out for what, 4 or 5 years or something at this point.
Like with the PlayStations and the Xboxes, this is a new model that they're exploring.
Yeah,
this is an exploratory thing. This is not the system at large, like the gaming industry at large. This is like, I don't know, maybe we can do this.
Yeah, I mean, even the. Look at the what is it, the 7th or 8th generation consoles, the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. There was no reason outside of fatigue, right, that you could not have purchased an Xbox 360, probably not a 360 because they were kind of notoriously shitty at first. But once I tell you what, once they got like a couple years in and they got to the hardware revision point where they got to the 2nd or 3rd hardware revision, I mean, I have a PlayStation 3, I have an Xbox 360. They're both trucking right along. Like they don't have any problems. I've had gaming computers that, I mean, a lot of times you got to throw more money into them, but still, I don't feel like we're at a point where the gaming industry is like, pay $600 for this console, and in 2 years it's going to be obsolete.
Sucker.
Yeah, it's not quite that bad.
It's less disingenuous than phones.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And there was also another part of that whole video where he's like, buy this game, or this game, or this game. They're all the fucking same game. Who gives a fuck? And it's like, okay, that is obviously a line that's been written by somebody who doesn't actually play video games.
That's like crotchety old man talks.
Right, exactly. Like, oh, they're all just first-person shooters. And it's like, no. Or they're puzzle games, or they're action games, or they're strategy games, or they're RPGs, or whatever.
You're right. There are categories.
Right. There are a bunch of different types of games, and then within those games there are subcategories. It's like when you hear somebody go, fucking pop music, it's all exactly the same. And you're just like, no, it's really not. You don't like it, and that's fine. You don't have to like it, but if you are a fan, there's totally a difference between this and this, and to lump them all together is really just to kind of try to make a point for comedy's sake.
Well, that was going to be one of my points. Is it sounds like this is just low hanging fruit in the comedy spectrum. So it's real easy to take pot shots because you'll get a few cheap giggles.
Also, let us not, Cracked has said on multiple occasions that they don't do this, but let's be honest, we all kind of do this in a certain ways. It's why I pick some stories and skip over other stories. You can make a video where you shit all over video games, and you will get a shitload of hits on it from people that hate your video, telling you why you're such a stupid idiot.
And that traffic is traffic.
Watching it all the way to the end just to make sure that they know every dumb thing that you said. Yep, that's totally, people are still in the comments of our Senran Kagura Bikini Ninja video telling us why we're all stupid wangs, to the point where I'm just like, do you guys just want me to delete it? I don't know what you want out of me. Like, it's a thing that happened in the past. Like, I can't, anyway, but a little salty about that today.
What about the comments on that porn managing video we did?
Oh, those were all just like that's Honeycam Studio.
Yeah,
those were all really incredulous. They were all just like, "What the fuck am I looking at? Like, this is so weird." That game, which I'm kind of in agreement with. That was my commentary throughout that whole game. Was kind of like, "What the fuck am I looking at? This is real weird." Like, but in any case, KDJ, the truth, as always, lies somewhere in the middle. No, the video game industry is not perfect, but it is not exactly a flaming pile of garbage on the side of the street.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of good games that come out all the time. There are places that you can look for innovation. There are still, let's say that you just want to play JRPGs. Like NIS and fucking Atlas are still cranking those things out for $60 on the PlayStation Store, and you can go buy them. If you just want to buy Madden every year when it comes out, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a good part of me that if I had a lucrative day job, it's possible that I would have just been playing just the Souls franchise for the last few years. Because
or like if you want to just keep playing the Yakuza franchise,
sure,
and you're a smart person and attractive, and the opposite sex likes you, and you're full of good ideas.
Yeah. So you're a fan of Yakuza? Is that what you're telling me?
I like it okay.
But that is not to say that, again, we talk about it all the time. Pre-orders, garbage. It's a terrible thing. No other industry does that bullshit. For some reason, video games and gamers have decided that this is a thing that they should do instead of acting like every other product in the entire world. Nothing else in the entire world outside of maybe like, get your Captain America Civil War tickets because it's probably going to be sold out for a few days and you want to see it the day it comes out.
You gotta see that Paul Rudd.
Maybe that, but nobody fucking, you don't pre-order cereal at the, you don't pre-order like, well, I guess there's probably people who have pre-ordered Beyonce's new album, but like, I don't know. It's just,
that was topical.
Yeah. It's a bad, I kind of wanted to watch that Lemonade thing. And then it's like, cause HBO was advertising it. And then it was like, it was on before Game of Thrones. And then they just took it all the way the fuck off. And it's only on this other service. Like you can only find it and her new album streaming on it's like, it's not on Apple. It's not, yeah. And
which she co-owns. So I
looked at that and they were like, sign up for 30 days. And I was like, all right, give me a free trial. And they were like, put in your credit card. And I'm like, nope. That's all right. I'm not even really a fan of Beyonce. I'm not a fan of Beyonce. I just don't really.
And I'm not going to go get a gift card to book the system.
Because I will forget. And you will charge me $10. And then I'll be like, all right. Okay. Anyway, comment in the comments if that Beyonce thing is any good. Anyway, pre-orders, bad. The way the DLC has been going, real bad. Early access is a fucking mess. There's plenty of these things. Kickstarter has been a fucking, like, it's been both a blessing and a curse where you've got Kickstarters that have gone up that have gotten millions of dollars and then just, like, well, didn't work. Sorry, bye. We have a lot of problems with cookie cutter games, Maddens and Call of Duties and Battlefields where it's just like the same fucking game over and over again, or games that are vaporware and never come out. There's plenty of problems to talk about in the video game industry, but that one specific video, it's just kind of hyperbolic.
Yeah, it's
blargity blue.
It's not the death nail.
Right, yeah. And it's not even really, it's just, remember, Crack doesn't really know shit about video games. They really don't. Like, they'll do an occasional article where people are like, here's 10 Easter eggs that were notoriously difficult to find. And it's like,
okay.
You just took one of those listicles off of the internet and then, like, wrote it in a slightly better topic. Like, the best things that you get out of Cracked are the personal experience articles, and for my money, the podcast and David Wong is on, but some people don't like him. I don't know. Whatever. Next up, some comes in from Steven. Steven says, Dear Jeff and Joe, quick question, tangentially related to video games. You mentioned in a previous podcast that back in the day you could make computers with DOS kernels sing. Could you please elaborate on your elite hacker skills? Please take us down Windows 95 memory lane. I remember using DOS merely as a file browser, but then again, I was a stupid kid back then. Sincerely, Steven. Did you know, are you, you seem like you might be old enough to have, to use a little bit of DOS back in the old days, Joe?
Yeah.
I like this question because it gives me the opportunity to be like, back when I was your age, we didn't have any of these newfangled, like, you actually had to, I mean, goddamn, man. Like, somebody had to teach me how to write a config sys and an auto exec bat, like you just set the IRQs on your fucking Sound Blaster and every game came up and was like, hey, what ports are on these things? And you had to know that shit. I actually remember that in the early days, I didn't know how to do that. And I had like a boot disk from a friend and it had like, I had two boot disks. I had one that I tried to write myself that didn't work very well, and then I had a second one from a friend that worked okay. And I remember that I would start booting off of one of them, and then in the middle of loading the auto exec bat, take it out and put the other one in, and then it would pick up on the line that I wanted it to and continue loading the rest of it, because I was literally too stupid to know how that shit worked. I don't know. It used to be the fucking Wild West, man. You just have to know some shit.
Yeah. I actually had to like study the machine you were trying to use.
Yeah. You had to like go in, pop your sound card out, look at the jumpers on it to see what the IRQs and the DMA, IRQ and DMA were set to. Yeah. This is back in the days when like there was, man, you guys don't even fucking, it was like RAM doubler. You remember RAM doubler?
Yeah.
Where we were all looking to try to get another 6 megs of RAM, in the game, and it would like cache RAM to the hard drive. There was all this bullshit. Like you would boot out of Windows 95 into DOS because in those days,
That's how you played real games.
Yeah. You didn't want all that 95 bullshit hanging over you.
That's the only way I could play my MechWarrior 2s.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, like, one of the things that I feel like is a truly lost art, and some people will know what I'm talking about and some people won't. You remember the original Command & Conquer?
No.
Okay. OG Command & Conquer had a thing, and I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, where when you were installing it, like most of the time when you were installing a game, it's like you put the CD in, you would, go over to the CD drive, and then you'd type install in DOS, and it would run through, and it would do all this stuff. Command & Conquer had an honest to God, it loaded like a GUI, and it had like this fake, like a movie loading thing that happened where it was like, it would say dumb shit at the bottom, like fucking calibrating the battlefield interface and fucking directing you to the second star colonel or whatever. And then like, yeah, it had like music and stuff. And that was incredible. It was just like, yep.
And a totally immersive experience.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've had this conversation with friends, and I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who kind of agree with this, that like, for PC, not only just for video games, but especially for the internet, there used to be like an overhead of you got to know how to do a few things. Like if you are just like, I want to get onto AOL. I mean, that is why AOL managed to give people the worst customer service experience in human history for like a decade, right? Because nobody wanted to like look up the number to call and like put in the password and set up their modem and all that bullshit. Yeah. That was probably the reason that I spent 10 years in the computer industry, was because I had to learn how to use DOS to play fucking Relentless Twinson's Adventure and, bullshit like that. But I don't know. You have any good DOS stories?
Nope, not really.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Yeah. It was kind of garbage. I mean, it was
no. You did it because you needed to, not because you wanted to have fun.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't want to look back and be like, oh, it was a wonderful time.
To return to the.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I will say is that at least in those days, you could, at least in those days, you had the ability, and I would do this if you could do it today, to boot into an operating system that didn't have any of the horse shit.
Yeah.
That was just like
just bare bones.
Raw. All I want is my game talking directly to my sound card with none of your. In fact, I even remember, this is more Jeff as an old man talk, when I fucking hated it. Let's see, what was it? 95, 98, 2000. What was the first one? It was probably XP was the first consumer grade OS that had the, not NTFS, the hardware abstraction layer, the HAL on it. Mm-hmm. Because it used to be that Windows 95, Windows 98, it was just, there was nothing. It was like your computer could just grab a hold of your video card and do whatever the fuck it wanted to with it. Like, and then Windows NT was always more stable because it had this layer of coding where instead of dumb software grabbing your video card by the nuts, it had to go, hey, Windows, can I please send this to your video card? And Windows would be like, okay. And then it would like take the thing and then give it to the video card and then pass it back and forth. So you had a layer to keep that stuff happening. So when Windows XP first came out, I fucking hated it because I was like, rather than fixing your fucked up Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows ME bullshit, you have now foisted this thing that is making all of our computers slower on us as a solution, because you can't be bothered to make your OS function correctly. You've got to bring in the fucking corporate grade OS and hoist this shit onto us so that we need more RAM. But yeah, I've actually thought that if the Steam OS was able to run all of the Steam games instead of just a variety of them, I would totally make a second partition that was just, I mean, right now I actually have two partitions, and the one that I have for gaming is on a solid state drive, and all it's got is like Windows, I think it's XP. What's that? What came after? Oh, 7. It's got Windows 7 on it, and nothing else. And like it's my regular partition where I do all my work is full of spyware and garbage and shit left over. So anyway, enough of that. Next one comes in from Craig. Craig says, Dear Rage Master Jeff and his many Rageophytes, which I take will be you, Rageophytes. That's it.
No, that's not me.
Okay. Dear Jeff and Joe, as a longtime fan since the days of the bars, which are loading, and a fellow barroom book reader, I thought I would suggest to you some sci-fi reading for your beer-fueled literary endeavors. You've mentioned on a number of occasions a liking for a background of Warhammer 40K universe, so I'd recommend wholeheartedly the Eisenhorn trilogy by Dan Abnett as must-read for 40K fiction. Joe, there's the whole Horus heresy in 40K.
Okay.
And I wish that they had, I don't know if they do, but the last time I checked, those books are all named different things and were written by different people. Yep. So I wish that they would go back in and rename them like Horus Heresy, Book 1, Horus Heresy, Book 2, and then put the name of the author.
Horus Heresy, More Than a Feeling. What? Well, where does that one go?
Yeah, Book 3. On to the question, however. In the old days, certain genres of games were almost exclusively found on either the PC or the console. For a long time, first-person shooters were very much a staple of the PC master race, along with RTS games and point-and-click adventures. Meanwhile, top-down RPGs and platform adventures were very much of the consoles. I don't know where you're getting top-down RPGs being consoles were, bro, but whatever. After Halo, the first-person shooter has now become a staple of the console, along with point-and-clicks evolving into Telltale games and Until Dawn formats. While the advent of indie Steam developers has spread many of the more console-only genres to the PC. So my question is, what genre of games are unlikely to ever bridge the divide between platforms, and do you think anything can be done to change that? And which genres of games do you feel have been improved or in some way lessened by the changes necessary to make them available in different formats? Yours faithfully in worship to the mightiest priests of the Dong Lord, Craig. Also, Craig's email is virus-free, according to avast.com.
I was wondering what was happening, or if he had injected some viruses into you.
Yeah, well, it wants to load some content, but it's probably just the Avast logo. I won't do that. So let's see. I feel like let's roll down the list here.
Yeah, okay.
What's left on the PC that hasn't really come over to console in a big way?
Casino games.
RTS, definitely. MMO, I feel like, is still very much a PC-centric type of thing. There have been a few.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, Elder Scrolls Online, but I feel like the keyboard is really the biggest thing with that.
Yeah, typing games in general have severely been limited.
So let's see. We've got RTS, MMO. I feel like MOBAs still are very much, because of the control necessary for them, have been much more PC oriented. And then I guess the only other thing that I can think of is probably hardcore sim games like DCS Flight Simulator, where it's like you got to go through a 40 button checklist to turn on your A10 so you can take it off. Really wouldn't work on the console. But I feel like,
well, actually, a friend of mine just bought from another friend, because he's an idiot, Steel Battalion with the full
controller.
Yep.
Oh shit! Damn, I've always wanted to try playing that. We played the Kinect one. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And I feel like when you look at those games, like the biggest thing between all of them is control input. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mostly
Interface.
keyboard. Like when I had the what was it, original Xbox 360, I bought one of the those little chat pads for it. Just atrocious to use. I hate it. So I don't know how you would get around that. I don't know if you could bring that experience. I mean, you could certainly hook a keyboard and a mouse up to a PlayStation, but that kind of defeats some of the purpose of it. I know that there's been some RTSs like Halo Wars, just the same way that there have been some MOBAs and there have been some, flight sims and stuff like that. But I feel like the biggest problem that you've got is just the number of buttons on the controller, and how do you get around that?
Yeah, you're basically looking at a true user interface question.
Yeah, which I don't know if there's a way to get around that. I mean,
I'm sure there is. I just don't think it's really been hit upon yet.
Or an elegant way to get around it, maybe is what I should be saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could always buy like a wireless keyboard and put that in your lap, and then that would at least work for like a game that had more buttons than were on the controller, and or like if you're talking about. There's nothing I hate in this world, and I'm sorry to everybody who sends me messages on my consoles. There's nothing in this world I hate more than trying to type something on the console. Where it's like,
yeah,
G-Z.
Oh my gosh! Oh, it's all uppercase. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I fucking hate that. Like, there's been people who have and I'm very sorry to the people who have done this, but there have been like people on my PlayStation 4 while I'll boot it up and there'll be a message waiting, and I'll open that message. It's like, hey, Jeff, so-and-so, love the show. Can you give me any tips for how to play like Dark Souls like entirely? And I'm just like, yes, not here. I mean,
not the forum.
You can hit me up on Facebook and I'll type it, but no, I'm not going to just be like, and then make sure
how do you recommend to play Dark Souls?
Well, Dark Souls is, I mean, even on the PC, you want to be playing with a controller.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's very good. Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to leave you here. I'm just going to leave the room. And you can do. Well, I'll record the rest of the podcast later.
I guess I didn't see it that way. No, that's an excellent point.
So I don't know if you're ever going to. I mean, I don't know if you're ever going to pull that stuff. I mean, I guess maybe if you could. I think that there's a console gamers. I'm not trying to insult you, but there is a level of precision that you get out of mouse and keyboard that you just do not get out of a gamepad.
Yeah,
there are some people that practice with it that can definitely approach that, but there's also a reason why they don't ever let PC players and console players play on the same servers together, because
it's just a slaughter fest.
Yeah. Like exactly like what happened when you tried to play Overwatch with a controller against a bunch of mouse and keyboard players.
I feel they respected me ultimately.
Do you?
No.
Okay. I was about to say, because we might need to look in stuff. As far as games that have been translated from the PC to the console that may have lost something, I do feel, as much as I like first-person shooters and I do like to play them on the console, just exactly when we were playing Overwatch, I was just like, oh yeah, like it's so much more precise with a mouse and a keyboard. I mean, I even used to have a trackball for even more precision when I was all up in Counter-Strike. But so I don't know. I
there you go. Put a trackball on a console controller.
Yeah, you could. I mean, a trackball, like if you had a thumb ball or a finger ball, that it doesn't require any actual movement. So you could sit there. Like if you could probably adjust like a MOBA control for that, right? Like if you had held the controller like with your left hand and used the D-pad, the shoulder buttons, and the stick to control that camera, and then with your right hand actually used a mouse to go through and click on stuff.
Yeah,
you could probably do that. What somebody could probably do is if they could develop a really good trackball that was built into like a keyboard, where if like you could use your hand to maybe like one hand type on one side of it, like you could probably do that, and then still have something that you could keep in your lap. But every time they make a peripheral like that, nobody fucking buys it.
It's too weird looking.
Yeah, nobody wants one of those. So I think it would have to be the sort of thing that came with every console,
and then force people to use it.
Right. And then make a bunch of games where you have to force to use it. I don't know. There's a part of me that thought that in the beginning that you could actually do some of that with if all of the consoles came with motion controls. You could do some of it with voice recognition. You could do some of it with actual gesture recognition, but not enough.
Well, once they finally get eye tracking down, then it's going to be a game changer. But that's kind of meant for like...
You mean like track IR?
Yeah, like tracking your irises as it's looking across the screen.
Oh, like the corporate product testing feedback places, right? Okay. Because they currently have on the PC track IR, where it's like you put on a hat that has a little thing on it, and then the camera adjusts your head movement into the game. I don't know how that's supposed to work, because it feels like if you move your head to the left so that your character on screen turns left, you're going to have to then like tilt your eyes back towards the screen. I don't know how that exactly is supposed to work.
3 monitors, Dick.
Yeah. A friend of mine is getting an HTC Vive and has the computer to actually play it. I was playing Battlefront in 4K at his house last weekend. It was like, damn, son. All right, enough of that. Our next question comes in from Paul, I guess. Yeah. And Paul says, hello, Jeff and Joe. Thank you very much for the drawing advice. It has given me a better take on drawing. Okay. You're welcome. This week's question, I've recently been listening to you on Rainy Plays Games podcast at the End of the World session. I was wondering if you could choose your own team to survive the apocalypse. Who would you choose? This could be friends, celebrities, and that one guy behind gyms. Keep up the great work, Paul. P.S. What's your favorite kind of soup? Or what do you like in a soup? Cold season is coming up. That's an interesting question, Paul. Soup, what's your favorite? Where do you stand on soup? Chowder, gumbo?
No, man. Like, there's an entire fucking world out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you only get one. You got to pick one.
Oh, then the pozole I make.
What is that?
Pozole is it's a Mexican soup. It's got hominy in it. It's
What was that?
what?
Well, just the inflection when you said
Soup?
Mexican soup. I don't know what it was. No, sorry. Go on.
Yeah. Wow, way to derail the pozole.
Sorry.
But so it's got hominy in it, and it's got like a kind of like a chili brothy type thing.
Okay.
And usually with pork, and I add turkey bacon into mine.
Okay.
And then you serve it up with some like oregano and crushed peppers and some lime, and then some like shaved cabbage and radishes, and it's kind of like pho in that you want to get fucked up, wasted, and have the worst hangover on the planet, because eating it and recovering and coming back to life by eating it is the best experience on the planet.
That's an endorsement of hardcore hangover. I don't know that I've ever heard that before. Well, it sounds like a good soup.
It's amazing.
There's a
Next time I make some, I'll eat some in front of you.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah. Just and like bring a fan, like blow the odor towards me.
Yeah,
that
but not
way.
too much of the odor.
Yeah. Well, that's where all the flavor is, obviously. I don't know. I like the tortilla soup they make down at the Chewy's around the corner is pretty decent. I like the tortilla soup.
Right.
But tortilla soup is tricky because you gotta have the little crunchy tortilla strips,
and they
gotta be thrown in
forever,
there. Yeah, they gotta be right before that thing gets to your table. I think you gotta just fucking throw it in there. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think that I like a good gumbo. My mom makes a pretty good cheese soup.
A nice thick gumbo is fantastic.
Yep. I don't know, man. I'm kind of like, just take anything and give me a couple handfuls of goldfish crackers and throw this shit in there, and then bam, good to go. As far as apocalypse teaming goes, I don't know that I ever considered anybody outside of I don't think that I've ever made a list. Like I don't think I've ever there's probably plenty of like special forces people and like medical personnel and things that I would want on my team. Like, the obviously thing to be would be like, is that you and Jason and, my sister.
You took my place on that podcast.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you did.
That's right.
I got sick.
Yeah. I don't know.
Not from a zombie outbreak, by the way.
I was that was a Cthulhu outbreak, but I don't know. I kind of figure like anybody could be like on my zombie apocalypse team. It's fine, man. Who wants to be on my zombie apocalypse team? I only have, in the case of zombie apocalypse, I have a few rules.
Okay.
You got to be willing to kill your family when they turn. And every zombie movie I've ever seen is we were in this dumb situation where like my sister got bit, and then like I kept it a secret because I can't stand for her to die. At this point, if we find out that you've been doing that, then we're going to throw both of you outside because go fuck yourself.
No.
No.
You fucking crush their heads in front of yourself.
Oh,
that's the only way to be sure.
Okay. Either that works too. That's equally fine. Just know, hey man, I appreciate that you love your family, but like this is survival of the species. We can't do any of this horse shit. I'm not having your zombie wife have a zombie baby and then fuck us all up. It's what happens in.
I've seen Dead Alive.
90% of zombie movies have that happen. That happened in the fucking Snyder Dawn of the Dead thing, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, little zombie baby.
Yeah. And it's just like, dude, fuck you. Like, no. Two is like we are not going to pretend like there's not a zombie apocalypse. This is the thing that I hate about every zombie apocalypse thing that I've ever seen is that it's like, oh, we'll be safe here, so let's stop here and we'll barricade this place and we'll pretend like nothing's happening. There's plenty of food and blah, blah, blah. No, there's a finite number of zombies in the world. If you just work at it every day, you can get rid of all of them.
It's kind of like losing weight. You just chip up a few pounds at a time.
Yeah. That's why Dawn of the Dead is like my least favorite zombie movie of all time because they get in that mall and then they're just like, I guess we'll just live here forever. It's like, well, of course the zombies are going to get in. The whole mall is surrounded by them and you guys spend all day like, haha, let's have fun. Yay.
Yeah, I appreciate your commentary on race relations, but maybe kill some fucking zombies.
I mean, like if you just took something that was like really, 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 really heavy and then you tied like a really, really long, like, I don't know, like some steel cable or like a chain or something to it. And every day you just went up on top of the roof of the mall and you just drop that shit on the zombies and then everybody works and you pull it back up and you just move over 1 foot and drop it on more zombies. Like at least when the biker gang comes running through the front door, there are fewer zombies to deal with and you just deal with the biker gang.
Or they choke on zombie piles.
Yeah. Also, anybody who's running down the list of Jeff's apocalypse rules, like anybody who's like, I want to be in charge because I want to put it this way. If you're like a medical personnel, you could do stuff, but anybody who doesn't have a thing that they're supposed to be doing is going to be out all day, every day until you die killing zombies, as long as you're physically able to do that. Because most of these places get in trouble when somebody decides like, well, we're all safe here, so I'm going to become like the king and marry all the women and rape and fuck all of them and whatever. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? No, we have zombies to kill. Like any of this horse shit, we're not making this new Jeff Sylvania. I don't want to be the governor of this town. We're all going to like get together, band together, kill zombies. And then when there are no more zombies, we're all going to pick up, take everything that we can carry and move to the next place where there are zombies and keep killing zombies. Literally until there are none left. We're going to go out all the time in the winter when they're all slow and frozen and shit. And we're just going to
hit them with shovels.
Yeah, hit them real hard with a shovel. We're going to take like 3 or 4 people. We're also all going to like, wear lots of armor. I don't care how hot it is outside. And yeah, and then if you can't deal with it, fine, fucking go away. I don't even care about you. Like, go do this over here.
See you again when you're a zombie and I'm killing you.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, if you want to go do your whole like, oh, we're safe in the mall thing, that's great. You go be safe in the mall. But I find that to be a huge waste of time, which is why when we play the end of the world thing, I'm just like, they're like, well, the Cthulhus are too hard to kill. I'm like, bullshit. Like, can they fly? Then dig big pits and dump them in there, and they can live forever at the bottom of the pit. We'll fill it up with cement. Like, there is nothing that can't be stopped with a functional tank and a flamethrower, probably. I mean, like, not the old ones.
If
also,
the Cthulhus, you can kill it.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Chris wanted to get high with fucking Matthew McConaughey and Willie Nelson the whole time. And
was any chance Sarah was drunk and disorderly?
No, that was what's her name? God, she was like the second most. It was Bo and Chris and me and Ashley.
Oh, okay.
And Ashley was super useful because she's got all these skills.
Yeah, she's got all that botany shit.
So like a point, I think it was like when I was making my plan where I was just like, does anybody here know how to make napalm? And I think that both Ashley and Bo raised their hands. I'm like, good, that's good. We're going to need some of that. Yeah, fuck the monsters. I mean, like, somebody has pointed out to me in the past, Joe, that it would be a really terrible movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to make a movie where, like, zombie apocalypse happens, and then we go back and win. Because we've literally, like, made this whole planet our bitch. We've conquered everything there is to conquer. All that's left is each other. We're not afraid of lions or elephants or fucking sharks. We don't give a fuck about all of that bullshit. And zombies are just dumb people who with no survival instinct. I don't care if they're the runny body kind. I don't even care if they're the Brad Pitt
World War Z's
convert you really quickly kind. Like, they're stupid. Like, literally just... It's a big pit, and then you put fire at the bottom of it with spikes, and then you stand on the other side and go, zombies!
I was going to say you type a small child as bait.
What's that? Yeah, sure. Hang me over that pit off of a crane, right? And I'll just be like, woo! Oh, meaty over here. And then they just run and fall into the pit. They're not problem solvers. They're idiots. Like, you could literally stand on the other side of a giant pit and literally lure, like, you could make a zombie apocalypse contingency where if you had enough vehicles to just keep those running zombies and you just run them across America until they either die.
Oh, let's make zombies versus Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, versus alien controlled semis?
Yeah. Or, like lawn sprinklers or cash registers. Just pick your machine
also,
versus
like,
a zombie.
I don't understand, like, if we just went and if we just all wore, like, if you were in the zombie apocalypse, right?
Okay.
And you just got, like, some fucking, like, knight armor, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to do with that?
I don't know.
I mean, like, yeah, they could definitely, like, swarm you, right? But they can't bite through steel.
Right.
No matter,
they still got people teeth.
Right. No matter how aggressive they are, their people teeth cannot go through steel. So what would end up happening is you'd be under this giant pile of zombies who were all trying to gum you to death while they broke their teeth off on your thing. And then your friend just pulls up with the flamethrower and he's like, hey, man, this is going to get a little hot. Just bear with me and just
Turn the AC on.
Right. Like you could build so like a bulldozer would be the ultimate. You just put some metal plates, A-team style.
Actually, farmers would be the best because they'd have those thrashers.
Yeah, sure. Like there's any amount of farm or construction equipment that I'm like, the people are like, oh, we sent in the military and they didn't know what to do. I'm like, if you just enclosed the cab of a bulldozer, like with armor plating, you're back to the whole like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Like, what exactly are they going to do? I'm going to tell you right now that the treads on a bulldozer give no fucks about how many zombies they run over. They literally, you could run over infinity zombies, and it's going to, you put some spikes on there, dude. Just warboy it up and fucking Fury Road this shit. We got no problems. Anyway, sorry, get me started on the apocalypse. All right, this next one comes in from Carson. Carson says, hello, Grand Priest of the Mighty Dong Lord. I have a question for you. Bit of context first. Recently, I beat Bloodborne for the first time, and it was a kick-ass experience. While playing, just before fighting Rom, the vacuous spider, you see the decrepit Master Willem sitting lakeside. After trying to talk to him, he does nothing but mumble. According to many online guides, you can kill him without any consequence, and in fact, you get a pretty nifty item for doing so. My question boils down to two parts. When presented with characters you can optionally kill, do you ever have regret for doing so or face a personal moral quandary before doing so? The second part of the question is, have you ever killed a character or NPC for loot and felt bad for doing so? Pardon the girthy question. Question. Love what y'all do with the site. Fear the old blood, but embrace the Dawn Lord. Your little listener, Carson. P.S. Jeff, how would you personally rank the From Software catalog so far with Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 through 3, and Bloodborne? That's a tough question. I'll come back to that one before.
Please don't.
Okay. So, Dark Souls, Demon Souls.
Oh God! All right, we're doing
Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2. Yeah, okay, there we go. We're done. Have you ever faced this moral quandary before, Joe?
I wouldn't say quandary.
Yeah.
You're fucking there. Kill them.
Is that
you get stuff?
Did you play the bad route in Fallout 3? Did you play the kind of the evil?
Oh yeah, no.
Like blow up Megaton. And,
no. For every Fallout, I always played Scourge of the Wasteland first, and then if I felt like getting back to it and playing it like a human being, maybe.
I can't do it, man. It turns my namby-pamby like lawful good stomach to do that shit. Like
if I can't take the boy who I inseminated, who shotgun married because the farmer father in Fallout 2 made me marry him, or I had to kill everybody. If I can't take him and pimp him out elsewhere, why the fuck did I just not kill them all in the first place?
I didn't play enough Fallout. I need to go back and play Fallout 2. I don't know what the fuck. So you usually go the evil route to start with.
I go the fortunate route.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Knights of the Old Republic, Sith Lord all the way?
No, I was playing around trying to feel it out. Like, oh, do I want these powers? I don't want those powers. Oh, I don't know. And then I just kind of got like that milk test middle sort of.
Oh, gross. That's the worst one.
It is the worst.
Yeah. So did you not get to the ending where you make that the Wookiee kill his best friend?
No, but that sounds hilarious.
Yeah. Like when you go full on Sith Lord towards the end, there's just a scene and it's like it was literally like I just found myself going like, oh man, I don't want to. Where there's the Wookiee guy and he's got this little Twi'lek girl that's like his best friend that you adventure with throughout the thing, and then it's like for I don't even remember what reason it is. You're just like, you Wookiee, kill your friend, and he's like, I don't want to, and you're like, you owe me a fucking life debt. Murder your friend. And she's like, whoa, no, it's fine, I'll leave. And you're like, no, you stand there, or Wookiee, murder her already. And he's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I was watching, it's just like, God damn. Wow. That
you gonna be Sith or not?
No is the answer. And whenever there's a morality system, I've never played a full Renegade outside of when Grant and I played Mass Effect 2. I've never played a full Renegade playthrough of Mass Effect. I started Fallout 3 to be evil, blew up Megaton, came back and was just like, I can't. I fucking hate Tenpenny so much that like, no, I don't want to be on your side, bro. This is stupid. Yeah, anytime they get me around Infamous, I can't. Infamous franchise, I just always feel like the asshole choices that you have to make are like so inordinately asshole. They don't even make any sense. Where you're just like, it's kind of like Have you ever played Renegade in Mass Effect?
No, I haven't played Mass Effect.
Okay. At the beginning of Mass Effect 1, it's like you're out there in space. You're like the first intergalactic space marshal, human space marshal that's been admitted into these marshals called Spectres.
Okay.
And like there's some shit going down on your colony planet. And you get ready to go, and then this like alien, one of these alien guys calls, and he's like, "I'll meet you there. I'll help you out. I'm a Spectre too." And the Renegade options, they're so bitchy. You're just like, "No, you stay there. I don't need your help." And he's like, "They're killing all your people." And you're like, "No, you stay there, you dumb fuck. I got this." And it's just like I was doing it, going like, "I don't think I can play this game like this. This is really stupid." The
bad choices tactically.
Yeah, the things that are coming out of my character's mouth are just really dumb. In Dark Souls or in Bloodborne, I don't know. It's also really difficult. It's really usually a bad choice to kill people because they have storyline that'll keep going later on. If you, you know, there's a character in every one of those games called Patches that always fucks you over, and after he fucks you over, he always asks for your forgiveness. And if you give him your forgiveness, then you can like buy stuff from him, or his quest line will continue. But like he always fucks you over. Like every time he shows up in every game,
there's Patches.
Yeah, he's there to fuck you over. And I don't know why I keep forgiving him. I think it's just because
that's what you are. You're a beaten wife.
I'm a softie. All right, let's see here. We're getting a little bit over time, so let's see if we can't pick a couple more questions here. Let's see. Oh yeah, I really like this question. This one is from Noble, who says, "Hey guys, this is one of your loyal fans of the question I hope stimulates your minds. I've been thinking about innovation in games, mostly in the wake of the annual Assassin's Creed games and their reviews. As a fan of Elder Scrolls and Dead Rising, I was perfectly fine with several sequels essentially doing the same thing, but there comes a time when you have to innovate to grab the attention of more than just your hardcore fans. As such, my question is this: what do you think is the best time for a sequel in a franchise to evolve before it becomes stale? Is it the third game, the fourth, or is it somewhere further down the line? Thanks for your time, Noble, a.k.a. B.A. Start.
I think whenever it organically comes up.
Yeah.
Like, say you're 2 games into like a 5-game franchise that you think is really going to go well by putting a cup into a bigger cup, but then you realize, well, what if you like incorporate a ball to put into that cup? Go ahead and explore that ball cup game.
Yeah, I also feel like part of it comes down to how often you're releasing the sequels, how quick the sequels are coming out. Like Skyrim and well, I didn't play that much Oblivion, but as I understand, I mean, like most of the Bethesda games have very similar DNA, but I feel like they have enough time between their releases for us to get tired of them and be fine with playing a mostly similar game, as opposed to Assassin's Creed, where it's just like bam, 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 bam every single goddamn year, or Call of Duty, where most of those games could probably use a pretty hefty. Both Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty could both use a pretty severe overhaul.
Yeah, and some cool off time.
Yeah, like give me a year. I'm so glad they're not having an Assassin's Creed game this year.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, because they need to just let people get excited again. I'm always more excited when it's been time since the last game of the franchise come out. So one of the reasons I'm really glad that this is the last Dark Souls game is because, you know, we had Dark Souls 2, and the year after that Bloodborne, and the year after that this is Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
Like I'm starting to get a little to the point where I want a little bit more time to build up my...
The Dark Souls is getting dim.
Well, I feel like somebody has to have studied it somewhere, but like, if you, like, let's say that you love sushi, but you eat sushi every single goddamn night, right? Eventually you're going to get tired.
And iodine poisoning from all the seaweed.
Absolutely. Like, things are better if you have a little bit of time. Like right now, I feel like it would be a perfect time. I mean, I know that there's not, but like, if they were going to make a new BioShock game, like this would be a great time. It's been a few years since BioShock Infinite came out. It's like you can tease with a new thing, and then bada bing. I mean, you know, the team is gone and the franchise is pretty much dead. But you know, but for the most part, I feel like if you're cranking them out faster, you need more innovation to happen sooner than if you just spread it out.
Incentivize actually exploring an entry. Well, I'll put it this way. You know, I talk mad shit about how amazing Arby's is, and that's only because it is.
Right.
But in reality, if I eat Arby's once a month, that's actually pretty frequent.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll wait a couple of months, go back to Arby's, and like, hey, I need my number 3 combo with cheese, and oh, I think I will get that corned beef slider. Bam! Innovation. It brought something new to the table.
Oh man, it's funny. Matt Frank keeps telling me, like, I helped him with his computer a while back, and he's like, "Oh, my wife and I are making you like a Taco Bell gift card gift basket," and I'm like, "Please don't." Please don't give me like $50 worth of credit to Taco Bell.
But then you get a quesalupa.
That is the last thing that I need. I went there last night and got one of those new dollar things where they put two things back on the menu. One of them is just tortilla with rice, beans, and like double beef.
Oh, and like Fritos.
That's the other one.
Okay.
Like I was like, give me one of those $1 things that you got, and she was like, beefy or crunchy? Like beefy, the beefy one, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of it just comes down to, I mean, I feel like you could probably just make the exact same game over and over again, just long enough apart. I mean, for fuck's sake, look at Diablo. Like, it hasn't exactly evolved in a super, super fantastic way.
Sure, it did take a long time.
Absolutely. Or Grand Theft Auto, for that matter. Like, Grand Theft Auto has made incremental improvements to the franchise over time, but just the amount of time between GTA 4 and GTA 5, like, Grand Theft Auto 5 has not reinvented itself significantly since GTA 3.
Yeah,
that was the first and only
whoa.
Major shift from that. Like, there have been graphical improvements, there have been more mini games or more improvements to the controls or blah 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 blah, but there's never been a real reinvention of the franchise outside of find a car, break the window, get in car, do a mission, go to the next mission. Right.
Yeah.
So if you wait long enough and your game is well made enough, there's no reason why you have to innovate the shit out of it. On the other hand, I think that we're both on the same page here with, if you're putting out the exact same goddamn game every year, it's much more noticeable, and we're just like, well, another one of these things. So let's see here. What do we got? A couple more questions here. Let's do these two. This one says, "Hail, Jeff and Joe. Fizzgig here with yet another question for you two to hopefully ponder on the air. I just finished listening to the episode 148. Joe's question about easy comparisons got me thinking down a creative tangent that led to my question. If you had the creative freedom to recreate any movie into a new genre and possibly have an R rating, what would be your choice, and who would you hire to adapt it? For my money, I would love to. Sometimes I can't understand these questions until they give their example. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? For my money, I would love to see Charlie and the Chocolate Factory retold from the losing children's point of view and in the horror genre via House of a Thousand Corpses, and hire on Jason Murphy and C. Robert Cargill to co-write it. Okay. May local Steve haunt the dreams of all unbelievers of the Dong Lord now and forevermore. Fizzgig.
Okay, so we're not creating a new genre.
I think we're shifting genres.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say creating a genre is an incredibly difficult task.
Yes, existing franchise in a new genre with maybe some, like
a mashup.
Yeah,
it's a girl talk.
Yes. You got anything?
Well, you talk. I'm going to think.
Okay. I think that the first thing that comes to mind is a thing that ever since I heard it, and I think that I actually did hear this first on the Cracked podcast, is, boy, howdy, Joe, would I love some Star Wars movies that were not involving space wizards, the Death Star, the Force at all.
Yeah.
Or Rebels. Like, I would love to have a
like a deli owner on Coruscant.
Sure. No, I was actually thinking what I would love is a private investigator on Coruscant, right?
Yeah,
it's a huge city, right? You maybe put up during the prequels thing. So this guy is not concerned with your fucking stupid galactic, with the Trade Federation and the Senate and all this bullshit. He's been hired to find a missing Twi'lek, and he's got to hit the streets and put the screws to some.
This astromech has a busted motivator.
That's right. Like, dude, I would love that. Or I would love it if you had like a kind of like Winter Soldier did. I would love anything in the Star Wars universe that does not involve blowing up yet another fucking Death Star and not space wizards, the Force, or any of that bullshit. Make a Captain America Winter Soldier espionage, like a Bourne Identity movie on some planet.
Wait a minute, you've got metal arm, you're Winter Soldier.
No!
You have children's refrigerator magnet on your arm.
Anakin Skywalker Winter Soldier, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like that world has been filled out. And I tell you what, you can actually take that concept, and I'm sorry to be so vague to Fizgig with this answer. You can take that concept of, let's say, suspense, horror, private eye, or like spy movie, and take those and put them in. Like, did you ever see? Are you a Star Trek? Do you do Star Trek?
Yeah.
You know those episodes of Deep Space Nine where fucking like Chief O'Brien had to go like undercover in the space mob?
Yeah.
That was great. I love that. I was like, this is awesome. Or the stuff where fucking Dr. Bashir and the Section 9 guy or whatever, where it was like this Black Ops Starfleet place. Like, I love those episodes. I love it whenever they take whatever. I love to see that shit in Harry Potter. I love to see it in the Star Trek universe.
Son.
Like fucking magic investigator, right? Like, you know,
like take based off of that, like Wesley goes to the academy, and I know we all hate Wesley.
Fuck Wesley Crusher.
But it could be other people, and it could just be like what is a High School Musical, but but at Starfleet Academy.
Mean Girls at Starfleet
exactly.
Academy.
Like, they're young, they're sexy,
Right.
and they can break warp 7.
Sure. Actually, it was funny because this is directly lifted from the Cracked podcast where they talk about okay, this is actually a really good idea, and that's why I want to make sure that I attribute it, that I don't make it sound like it was my own idea. So now this has largely been discredited, right? But Star Wars Episode 1 indicates that there's actually the midichlorians, that there's a physical thing that make people powerful with the Force. So what about a horror movie about a guy who doesn't have access to the Force but kills Jedi and drains their blood like Saw style, and then injects it into himself and gets fucking super high on like Jedi blood, and then he gets like lightning powers, but they wear off over time. Now he's addicted to it. He's got to keep trying to like serial kill Jedi back in the the old days, or you could even bring that up into the current thing and say that like you've got a guy who's like a serial killer who can scan people, and he's looking for Force-sensitive people to basically murder and take all of their midichlorians so he can get all hopped up on Jedi juice.
Or how about even better, Norma Ray, but on like the Murder Sun or whatever the fuck the name of that thing was.
What? Death Star?
Star Killer Base?
Star Killer Base? Oh, from 7?
Yeah. Murder Sun.
Yeah, Murder Sun. Dude, I would settle for a romantic comedy between stormtroopers on Star Killer Base. Like, because you know that like all this upper tier shit is happening, but somewhere there's like, you know, fucking Ensign, what's his name, and this other lady who's a stormtrooper, and they've been making goo eyes at each other. They keep sneaking out, and meanwhile they're trying to avoid Captain Phasma, and she's like trying to bust him, and she's I'm gonna send you to waste collection on the other side of Star Killer Base.
Fuck that. How about like Gung Ho, but for like rebel fighters, like, you know, the A-wing manufacturers, like they're just not moving those units.
The Gungan car industry, the Gungan fighter industry is being destroyed by outside Ithorian competition.
Yeah, exactly.
And, they're just. Yeah, seriously, I'm serious here. Pick any genre that is not space wizards and Death Stars, and then set it in Star Wars universe. I would totally watch it. Fucking any universe. Like I said, Harry Potter. Make a whole spin-off series about fucking Dumbledore hires a guy to go track down he who shall not be named, and he's like having to go around in the muggle world. Something that's not a bunch of fucking 8-year-olds in middle school, that's like an adult who knows how to do magic and isn't an idiot like most wizards are, because they're like, what is this? And it's like, it's an iPhone, Dad. And they're, oh, how do I eat it?
Well,
like,
yeah,
you know,
like how about Batman actually fights a hostile takeover of Wayne Enterprise?
I would totally watch that.
Yeah.
Yep, Batman is Bruce Wayne. Fuck, man, I would settle I would settle, and this is a deep cut, for a Matches Malone movie. Do you know who that is?
No.
Matches Malone is a character in the DC universe. He's like a thug, an underground thug who like lights matches like out of like a little book, and then he throws them down the ground, like a mustache and like big glasses. He is another alter ego of Batman, who is like a low-level criminal who gets intel into the underworld. But man, I'd settle for an elongated man mystery movie, you know? Anything that's not just like the same old bullshit over and over and again. Peter Parker, school drama, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but with fucking Peter Parker.
Or Clark Kent finally does his fucking job, and it's like all the president's men.
Jesus, yes. Clark Kent and Lois Lane have to like expose corruption in the United States military, or or fucking what was that? Spotlight. They're exposing priests that have been.
Because how awesome would that be? Like Clark Kent knows that they're fucking these kids, and he can't punch through them.
Right, but he knows that that if he just shows up as Superman and punches a bunch of priests' heads off, that they're going to be like, Superman's going insane. So he has to do the hard work with. Fuck yeah, man! Anything that's just not the regular old bullshit. Yeah. All right, one more question, then we're done. This one's a short one. It comes in from Dennis, who says, Dear Keepers of the Mighty Crystal Dong and accompanying gold filigree condoms, what is the first TV show that you were disappointed ended early? For me, it was a show called Brimstone.
Oh,
Dennis.
Holy shit.
Yep.
No, that's it.
That's it? Brimstone?
Yes. It was so amazing. Like,
I don't even know what it is.
It had Peter Horton, a.k.a. Zach Barnes from Side Out, a.k.a. the long-haired dude from 30-something.
Nope, none of these.
He kind of looked like a skinnier Ron Perlman. Like, he had that kind of wolfish-looking face.
Okay.
Anyway, point is, he's Ezekiel Stone, NYPD, who his wife got murdered. Or not murdered, she got raped. He found the rapist, killed that guy in cold blood, and then he got killed later. So he was sent to hell because he wrongfully killed somebody.
Okay.
But then a bunch of the 100 of the worst souls escape from hell. So what is the devil going to do but make a deal with Zeke Stone? And Zeke Stone has to go back topside, and he's got to shoot them bitches in the eye so that he sends their souls straight back to hell.
That show sounds awesome.
It was amazing.
That show sounds fucking.
Peter Gabriel did the soundtrack for it.
I'm gonna have to write that down for later. It's funny because
in Scandinavia, because I had to find it, and like about 10 years ago I finally did, but they were rips from some Scandinavian satellite companies. So in Scandinavian, it's Javelin.
Okay,
which I think means like I made a pact with the devil.
So how far did he get before they just cut the series off?
It was, I think, partially into season 2.
How many souls did he get out of 100?
He probably got like 16.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they were shooting for like 12 seasons in a movie and shit. Okay. All right. That sounds pretty good. It's funny because when I first read this question, my first answer was Farscape, because I was real big into Farscape, and then they just chopped it off.
The way it ended before the Peacekeepers Wars was just kind of like, oh god.
It was so fucked up because before that happened, it was like it had a perfect ending.
Yep.
And then they did their 4th season cliffhanger, and it was like, you could have cut 5 minutes before that happened, and it would have been a perfect end. Just fade to black, the end. Thank you so much for watching. Play the whole theme song, with all the crazy shit.
Boy,
yeah. And would have been fine, but no, they left the last few minutes that set it up for the horrible. And then what was funny about Peacekeeper Wars was when they show back up to Peacekeeper Wars, it's like they just kind of pick up like, all that. Like there actually feels like there was a whole story that happened in between there, and then they just like, all right, well now you guys are back together. It's fine.
It's so weird seeing Rigel with feet.
Oh yeah. Anytime that they make him CGI, it's a little strange.
Yeah.
But then I remembered.
No.
There was one show that broke my heart as a child.
The Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer?
Nope.
Oh.
It was a cartoon, and it was an incredibly unique cartoon that had the promise of something that TV would not do.
We know you love Reboot.
Not Reboot. Reboot's actually pretty good, but no. I'm talking about the fucking Pirates of Darkwater.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Because the Pirates of Darkwater had this meta story in the intro about how, these pirates they're in this weird world that's being overtaken by Darkwater, and there's like the 13 treasures of rule, and they're trying to go find all of them. Mm-hmm. And it was actually a really early example of like that whole like, they have a meta story that they're going through, but then every week we have an individual story, but it still ties into finding these treasures or whatever. And then it was for like 2 seasons it got canceled, and it was like, but what happened with all the and they had a boat, and then they just turned the sail on the boat up.
But you'll never know,
boat
Jeffrey.
could fly.
I know, but you'll never know.
Motherfuckers. So yeah, I remember that as a kid being really invested in that, and then having it just poop out. But then I can honestly say that 90% of the shows that I got really disillusioned with TV about 5 years ago because it was just like, oh, Jeff, do you like that show? Well,
Too
fuck
fucking
that.
bad.
Yeah, fuck that show. That show's off the air. How about this show? Oh, fuck that one too. You like that one? Yeah, fuck that one too. Do you like Young Justice? Well, go fuck yourself because it's not on the air anymore.
Eureka probably went on a little too long.
Yeah. Meanwhile, yeah, I still. Yeah. Anyway. All right. And that is all the questions that we have to answer this week. Join us back here next week for another podcast. Let's see. Joe, do you have anything that the people need to know before they go?
I think if all the rage boners is that the collective name for the people, the listeners?
We make it up on the fly.
Yeah, if all the rage boners could petition Fox to at least re-release Brimstone,
Okay.
that would be a nice solid to the world.
Okay, you know what? We've never actually done it before, Joe, but if you make a change.org petition, we all know how much those get done.
Yeah, that one will do it.
Yeah, all right. You make it, and then I'll put it out there, and then everybody can sign it, and then nothing will happen.
Yay!
Well, that's what change.org petitions are for, is to make you feel like you did something. Actually, I don't even know that. Do change.org petitions actually do anything?
Not so far.
Okay, good. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address. If you want me to change that, fill out a change.org petition, and I will not change it. We'll see you back next week. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and good night.